wasn't even like gonna go into this with a pattern, but I kind of just made one, so I feel like obligated to keep it going. Let's go
Yep.
number 3.
Let's keep it rolling. I like it. You know what? I feel like the players that have been the most successful have come in with some sort of a strategy to how they pick, and I feel like it
Hmm.
works out. The random scatter shot doesn't work out too often, but
Yeah.
let's go to number 3. Let's see what we got inside this one. It's gonna be, oh no, the Vizio 55-inch 4K
Uh,
UHD Smart TV off the table here. That one's
that
gonna sting.
hurts. Yeah.
Still some good ones on the
Damn.
table though. Couple Razer peripherals, another $50 Walmart gift card. All is not lost yet, Impulse.
How many more? 2 or 3?
We got 3 more
Nice.
to go
3
this
more.
round
Okay.
before my first deal.
All right. Well, my pattern didn't work at all, so let's just go random now. Let's go number 10.
Okay. We're scrapping the strategy. We're going to number 10. We're mixing it up here. It came back to bite Impulse with crate number 3. Will it do the same with number 10? Ooh, it will. The Razer Black Widow V3 wireless keyboard. It's quickly falling apart here, Impulse. We gotta gather ourselves here before the end of round 1, my friend.
All right. Number 2. Get rid of the first row.
Number 2. All right. Let's close out that top row. We need a good pull on this one, and we're going to find it. The other 2,150 Apex coins. Good recovery. Last crate of round 1. What's it going to be?
11.
Number 11. All right. Closing out the first round. 9th crate we've opened. Can we find another white tier prize? It's a Series E jersey of your choice. You already got a few of those, though.
I got one of those, yeah.
Yeah, I think Impulse is decked out with the Series E swag, so that one is A-okay
okay.
to find there. So 9 off the table in round 1. I would say, it stings to hit the TV and the keyboard, but overall, a good round here. I'm going to say my first deal for you here is going to be that Nerf blaster, still available in those white tier prizes. We love Nerf. We're stoked to be working with them. A Nerf Ultra 2 motorized blaster. When you go over and
It's a
see,
cool little blaster.
yeah, I mean, when you go over to see Lucas or Rack, you're armed, you're ready to go.
Yeah, definitely. There's still a couple good prizes up there. I think I'm gonna have to steal on this one.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Impulse says steal. We'll keep playing. The 6,700 Apex coins, a Walmart gift card, still available. There's still also a nice Razer headset up there. So we're going to keep playing. Impulse is going to steal here. We're going to go to round 2. So this time around, we opened 9 the first time. We're going 6 this
6,
round.
all right.
So open them up. Let's go.
Let's do 14.
Number 14. Going back down to that 4th row. Those lower crates treated Impulse well so far, and the splash water pack inside
Perfect.
14 will do the same.
That's what Lucas won when he did his, so I don't want to walk away with the same thing.
There you go.
19.
Number 19. Need to keep the momentum rolling here. Inside number 19, it's going to be the other $50 Walmart gift card. Bit of a stumble there, but we're still,
Hurts a little bit.
okay.
It's okay,
There's still
though.
some good prizes up there.
Need to find that other water in the dad hat. Let's do 12.
Number 12. All right. Let's get back into those white tier prizes here, Impulse. I'm pulling for you.
There's
You
the
called
water.
it. You called your shot. You said you needed to find the other one, and there it is.
Perfect. Now the dad hat is definitely in number 8.
Okay. Calling his shot back to back. Impulse says number 8. Is it the other Series E dad hat? It's not. It is some
Okay.
other Series E merch, so it's the other Series E jersey of your choice. And if you folks want to grab the newly minted ones, like hanging behind me here in the studio, shop.esportsarena.com. Use promo code SEASON4 to get 15% off your order. Just a couple more to go this round. 2 more. Impulse,
Okay.
what are we thinking?
5.
Number 5. Okay. Is the Series E dad hat hiding over there? No, it's an esports arena mystery box. Okay.
Kind of destroyed that lower section. It's okay.
Been,
There's still 6,700 Apex coins and a headset.
yep.
Last one for the round. Let's do 7.
Number 7. Let's see what we got inside crate number 7. Last one of the round. It's going to be the Red Bull pack.
Okay.
Another one of the white.
I don't drink energy drinks, so that's perfect.
There you go. It works out. Okay, so round 2 all done. As you mentioned, those bottom 2 rows of prizes no longer exist, but we still got some good stuff up there. There's a Series E dad hat, Intel sweatshirt, a Nerf blaster, and those coins. I'm going to offer you some coins, but we're going on the lower end this time around. 2,150 Apex coins. It may not help you, it may not complete that collection, but maybe we can make some progress on those heirlooms.
I want that 6,700, man. I got a steal.
Yeah, you thinking maybe it's hiding inside of number 13?
It
Maybe you pulled it from the
13.
Start. Okay.
The headset's still up there too. There's potential.
Okay. So Impulse says steal. We got one more round now ahead of us then. And now things get really, really interesting. 6, 9, 15, and 18. 3 of those have got to go.
All right. Let's get 18 out of there.
Number 18, close out that bottom row. Hopefully it doesn't close out the bottom row of prizes. The Razer headset still on the table and is not any longer. The Razer Wireless Black Shark V2 Pros. Okay.
Hurts a little bit. The coins are what I want though, so that's okay.
They're still
there.
in it.
All right. Let's do number 6.
Number 6. Double digits didn't treat Impulse there in round 3. We'll see if the single digits can be a little more favorable. The Intel jacket.
Perfect.
There we go. Well played. Okay, last one. 9 or 15. You're looking for the Nerf blaster.
Find
or
the
hat.
dad hat here. Let's do number 9.
Number 9. Impulse going to leave both of those double-digit crates on the table for the end of the game. Inside of number 9, it's going to be the Apex coins. No! You were so close, my friend. And now we're at an interesting little spot here. Only 2 prizes left on the table. Inside of number 13, it's either that dad hat or a brand new Nerf blaster. My deal for you here, I'm not going to offer you the Red Bull. You don't drink energy drinks, and that's good, right? That's okay. I'm going to offer you, it's that time of year. It's getting a little chilly. I don't know necessarily where you live, but even here in Southern California, it's been a little cold. I'm wearing my jacket today. We had some rain. So I want to get you a nice new jacket. I got a brand new Intel sweatshirt for you. We will send your way, keep you cozy and warm during these holiday seasons. Are you taking it? Or do you want the Nerf blaster and you want to see if it's inside number 13?
I live in Arizona. The jacket thing doesn't really help. It's like 100 degrees all the time out here.
It's just hot and dry.
Yeah, I guess we'll just go for the Nerf blaster. I'm going to steal.
Okay. Impulse says steal, which means we're opening up crate number 13. Impulse set it aside at the start of the show, was maybe hoping the TV or those Apex coins were hiding inside of there. It's not one of those two, but maybe it's the Nerf blaster. Let's see what's inside lucky number 13. Run it. Let's go. Here it is, crate number 13. It's the Series E dad hat.
That went downhill real quick.
Hey, it'll help keep that hot Arizona sun off your face, Impulse. We'll avoid the sunburn. All right, we'll keep you looking real good. rep it when you eventually get to land. All right, we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there eventually. Impulse, thanks so much for coming to hang out. Good to see you. Good to hear from you again. Best of luck in ALGS playoffs, my man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, that was Impulse, Noble Impulse, former Series Z Pro, now competing in the ALGS Pro League, joining me for a little bit there. Again, if you guys want to come and play Deal or Steal with me, make sure you're subscribed here at twitch.tv/esportsarena. You may have a shot to come and win one of those awesome prizes. Remember, we got that 55-inch Vizio 4K TV. Great for your gaming setup. So that all out of the way, week 2. Ready to kick that off here at Series E. I'm stoked for it. Let's get into the action, folks.
Series E.
Series E.
Series E.
Series E. Series E.
Apex Legends.
Apex Legends.
Series E Apex Legends starts right now.
And now we're seeing it once again, just like Game 2, slowed down, but Fury won.
Time and time again, and cheese it. They think they're winning it. Chances are they're winning it.
It gets thirsted by Zera Tricky as Hacula is going to come around the corner with the spray, and now it's just one player alive over here, and this was...
Yo, what's going on, guys? Hold on, let me just adjust myself real quickly. All right, here we are for Series E Season 4. It's week number 2, and I got my boy Why Not on the broadcast. Tony, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. I can't lie to you, man. My Twitter is absolutely going insane. Just got announced that I'll be casting for the HGS Halo series at Raleigh, our first land of Halo Infinite. And then I got hit up, asked if I want to join the broadcast. I was like, I've been thinking about Apex ever since Halo Infinite came out. I haven't been treating it with the love and respect it deserves. So I'm so happy to be here, right now.
Let's go. Congratulations on HCS, man, and going to Raleigh. Oh, that's got to be a dream. But today we've got Apex Legends on the line. We are, of course, in week number 2. This is the open evening for Series E. So let's go ahead and talk about exactly what's going on. Now, last week in week number 1, it was Team Vizio that walked away with the big dub during our open night. And this is how they did it. Of course, we are following that ALGS standard point format where every single kill matters, but your placement matters as well. First place getting you 12 points all the way down to 15th place, which will net you 1 point. We're playing 6 matches tonight like we do every night, and we have $500 on the line. $350 going to first place and $150 going to second place there, Tony. So really excited about today's games because we know that when it comes to the open nights, things end up being a little shaky. Things can be very volatile, and so we can expect a lot of action.
Definitely, there's a lot of hungry people that want to make a name for themselves. I used to compete. I used to compete in gaming back in the day, and I love me some esports. And if I ever had a semi-pro league like this, and they had an open night, I promise you, I would come out fragging out and just think in the back of my mind, like everybody's gonna know my name by the time this tournament's done.
Yes, sir. And Team Vizio definitely made sure that people had to put respect on their name. But I mean, that was a squad that we've been hyping up for a while now, a squad that we saw multiple times in Series E. Speaking of which, seeing multiple times in Series E, that was super cool to see Impulse there during Deal or Steal at the top of the show. And, you know, they've been able to move on, get signed to an organization, which is why this is what we do. This is what we do here at Series E. We want to, of course, support, like you said, everyone in the competitive scene. We want to give them that avenue to compete. And so when we have these open nights, we got some hungry teams, like you said, Tony, that are showing up, that want to make sure that they make their name known. Let's see who those squads exactly are. And so, of course, we do have our partnered squads, but take a look at all the names coming in today.
Yeah, and that's why Series E is honestly so important to the competitive esports in general. Like, you know, I'm not going to call out other esports, but I'm going to call them out by name. But there's some esports where the amateur league is so far away from the professional league, and there's no chance for you to get built up. So Series E comes out here with the semi-professional league. You get out there, you qualify to get partnered with a team that with a company that everybody recognizes. On top of that, you get yourself a little bit of salary. It's just honestly one of the coolest things. I'm so happy it's coming over to the Halo side of things, and just it's so important for all of esports. Come out here, make a name for yourself. And didn't Team Intel from a couple of seasons ago actually get signed by Esports Arena? And then ultimately now with players on TSM, there's so much movement going on. My head head can't even keep up.
Yeah, we call it the Team Intel buff because that's 2 seasons in a row where basically they just have an amazing performance, right? Team Intel from season 2 moved on to be Ghost, who ended up winning Pro Night last week, by the way. And then, yeah, like you said, we had Verhulst from Team Intel season 3, Team ESA, moving on to TSM and having some of the best performance in the ALGS. And also last week, Team Intel of season 4 was able to win out on Pro Night. So it is that Team Intel buff coming in time and again. And it's been an amazing thing to see. And it's all about being able to support the competitive aspect of whatever game. With so many games being covered now, we got Guilty Gear going on as well. And there are just so many exciting things going on in that regard. But again, it's all about making sure that our players are supported, our players can thrive and succeed in this scene. And like you said, tier 2 often does kind of get ignored, I would say, for lack of a better word, and there isn't enough importance put onto it. But you can see what happens when you give people the resources to thrive.
Yeah, and it's funny because he's talking about the Intel story here. So that puts a lot of pressure on this season's Team Intel. Like, Team Intel has had this track record of continued excellence, and now you're coming in under that same banner. You know, you better step up. You better make sure that you're hitting on all cylinders as well, and make sure you're winning all of these open nights and making a name for yourself. Well, I feel like that's a lot of pressure on this season's Team Intel.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure, and I think on all of our players right now, because you know, even though we've got playoffs around the corner, we also have relegations happening in the ALGS. And so teams like Team Excedrin are keeping an eye on that. And so it's almost no downtime, even though we've got the holidays coming up in, you know, just another week or two. There's almost no rest time for these players. And that's kind of the life of esports, right? There's almost no rest time whatsoever. You just have to constantly be on the grind. And that's what's going on tonight. We got 6 matches taking place. It's going to be on World's Edge like it always is. And our competitors, this is just going to be some of the practice they need going into both the playoffs and the relegations. And so we'll see. We do know that, you know, here on open nights, things play out a little bit different, Tony, because like you said, we have a lot of hungry names, a lot of people that want to be able to like get those 3v3s or 1v3 highlight reel frags. And so they're going to play things out a bit differently than we would expect in a professional lobby. And so we're going to see a lot of action early on.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. If I see a team like, for example, I recognize Fury and Phony Head. They've had, again, continued success. I see them dropping anywhere. I'm dropping right on them. I'm gonna have my Ash and Revenant combo. I'm gonna get super aggressive, get a slay out, record it, and send it to everybody. It's going all over Twitter. That's my mindset though. As an amateur player coming into these opens, I'm like, I see big names and I see names that I recognize. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I not only take them out, I take them out with style. So this way I got a little something, make a little montage and whatnot and get some names on me. I'm telling you, it's all about your branding now. Esports has totally flipped here in 2021 now leading to 2022.
Yeah, that's why we're here, right? They want our voices over that highlight montage reel for themselves. So we will try our best to deliver. We're going to have a lot of action. So right now we're just waiting to get our squads into the lobby. But yeah, like you said, there's so many familiar names. Teams that we're going to be keeping an eye on tonight would be squads that have open registered for tonight's games. We're looking at Stick Drift OP, RCO Esports, Lazarus as well. Lazarus last week was performing extremely well until Team Vizio ended up turning it on and basically running away with the second half of the evening. So we'll see if Lazarus can continue what they did last week and just be able to carry that momentum throughout all of the games.
And if you don't mind me asking you, Jet, so lots of times when I've seen the meta get a little bit toxic. We've seen a lot of Valkyrie and Caustic meta that I'm seeing, and obviously, you know, the fundamental Gibby. What's the meta looking like here in our semi-professional league? Is it slow? Is it running slow with that Caustic composition? Are they kind of mixing things up? What are some of the metas that you're seeing here week after week?
Caustic's kind of falling out of meta or out of favor just a little bit, but he's still used quite frequently. The Valkyrie though, and the Gibraltar, those are the two big ones that we look at. Gibraltar basically 100% pick rate, maybe 99%, with Valkyrie dropping down to maybe about 90%. I haven't really looked at the Reddit to make sure, because there is someone, I forget his name, I forget the username, who ends up posting the usage rates, and thank God for him, because I cannot do that math. I cannot sit down and keep track of all those stats. But yeah, those are two of the highest pick metas. But right now we're seeing a lot of interesting stuff coming out, because, you know, we'll have compositions like Wraith, Valkyrie, and Gibraltar, or sometimes some squads don't even run the Valkyrie, as they just want to play the edge. So it's really exciting to see, because of how the two different nights play out, because of how open night plays out, because of how pro night plays out, you kind of have to change up your play style. So I want to see what our partner squads have in store to really try and deal with the change of pace when it comes to open night, because you do have to prepare for the open nights like you're kind of qualifying for a bigger tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to see Wraith and Gibby still in effect. Like, Wraith is so good, obviously, with her Q, but really her portal just opens up so many things for your entire team to do. And then Gibby's value just keeps going up and up as the circle gets smaller and smaller. Let me tell you, man, the bubble to create spacing out of literally nowhere, or to use as cover when you're obviously playing with that Mastiff or that Peacekeeper, and then obviously the ultimate bombardment. As that circle is smaller and smaller, it does maximum damage. If you don't have a Gibby of your own, you might end up getting wiped really quick.
Yeah, it's interesting in that regard, because, you know, for a long time, everyone in Apex was like, says basically, you know, in competitive, if you end up using a legend and more squads end up using a legend, typically that legend kind of loses some of its strength. But Gibraltar is one of those, just because of the utility, just because of the fact that you have that big shield, right? To cover any kind of mistakes you might make on a rotate, or whatever movement you make. But Gibraltar is a legend that if other teams have him, you kind of need him as well. While the other legends like Valkyrie or like Wraith, you can kind of do without, because if you lose them, you do have ways to make it up. There's no one else that can make up for what Gibraltar does, which is absolutely massive stuff. Can save you from the fire multiple times. We've seen it more often than not. Gibraltar is being able to save an entire team with just one bubble. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. I mean, you mentioned a composition that you might see in ranked a lot of times. You got that Revenant coming in, and Revenant Ash having both of the what do they call them? Not synths. This is not. This is not synths. This is in Fallout 4. Simulacrums, I think that's what they call them in the lore. For lack of a better word, they're robots, right? Right? they're robots with AI or something. That would actually be such a fun composition to watch. Throw down that totem, throw down the phase breach, and right on top of them, and you just get to instantly send on people, instead of like what used to be ran in the past with the Revenant, which was the Rev Octane. The Rev Octane, you have a little bit of that downtime because you're in mid-air, and so you can get kind of cleared, right? So I would actually kind of like to see that. That'd be super exciting.
And yeah, you know what? Since we're talking about the meta as we're waiting for that round one matchup to kind of get the lobby to get ready, you know, we talked about some of the legends. Why don't we talk about some of the weapons as well? I'm big on Volt and Charge Rifle. I love me a charge rifle. It upgrades my shields, and then once I max out my shields, I'm unselfish. I'm gonna swap shields with my teammates. It's so easy. Plus, we keep our distance, so we get to see how the map is kind of being played out with that charge rifle. Once everybody's shields is kind of maxed out, I still kind of like to play that edge. And then for me, I'm a controller player. I'm sorry, I'm a controller player. So the Volt literally shoots itself sometimes. It's absolutely disgusting. And I know they kind of nerfed the Eva a little bit, which was kind of my go-to. But once they did that, the Volt kind of became one of my favorite weapons.
Yeah, I mean, Volt's still in vogue. Charge rifle, if you've got it, you're going to go ahead and use it. But I think the go-to sniper right now for a lot of people is going to be that triple take. Triple take is absolutely insane. So if you have that Volt triple take, with the changes, triple take now taking energy ammo, that just means you only have to look for energy ammo. You don't have to hold on to sniper ammo. You don't have to hold on to shotgun ammo, because a lot of times people end up using the Volt like a or excuse me, use the triple take like a shotgun as well. So that's always super fun. But I think right now we have a really good gun meta. It's all basically kind of your preference. If you want to run the R3, you can run the R3. If you want to run the wingman, you can run the wingman. Now, we don't see the R99 as much anymore. And then you kind of have your pick of the litter when it comes to shotguns. People still use the Evas, people still use the PK and the Mastiff, and of course, our boy, the Mozambique, not getting that much love anymore, or never really did. Eventually, I think it'll make its way in back on in. If we get the hammer points, honestly, it is absolutely insane how much damage you could dish out with the Mozam on the hammer point. But right now, I feel like the gun meta feels pretty darn good, because you can run basically what you see fit. As for controller players, though, the Prowler is definitely one I think a lot of people appreciate.
It's so funny you mentioned the Mozambique. I had no idea how good the Mozambique was until I started playing arenas. Once I started dabbling with arenas, that's when you're kind of automatically forced to pick it, at least for those first few rounds. And to be honest, I rock it for quite some time. It's an amazing secondary. And you clip that one player, second one's coming in for the cleanup. It is so nice to whip out that Mozambique when I got a little aim assist, but when I'm hitting my shots, you put that second one down, you feel like a monster. I had no clue how good the Mozambique was until I went to arenas, but obviously it's kind of tough when you're stacking up against the Peacekeeper, Mastiff, and definitely the Eva. The Eva was that god shotgun for so long.
Yeah, the Mozam definitely needed the extra shots, right? Because people get kind of caught off guard by how quickly you have to reload, right? When it was back when it was the 3 shots, but now that it's got the extra ones, you have a little bit more staying power in those shotgun fights, and it fires incredibly fast, and it's just kind of almost buttery smooth how fast it shoots, especially if you get a purple bolt on that. It's you dish out so much damage. I believe if you hit all headshots, it's like 69. And so you can easily just 4-shot someone, and I believe like you get those 4 shots off faster than 3 Eva. I don't know. I need to test those out, but it's incredible how much damage you can actually dish out with the Mozambique, but you just need to be within that range. So right now, we'll see if we get some more love for that Mozambique in the future. But now we got to go ahead and send our loves to the players, because we have game number 1 set up, and we are heading into World's Edge. It's our first game of the night here for the open night. Last week, we saw Lazarus open things up, starting off really strong. And like I said, it was Team Vizio who ended up the night taking, I believe it was 3 wins in a row. We'll see if it's the same story here, but right now, Team Lazarus, that's one squad that I definitely want to join on board with when we get into game number 1.
And, to be honest with you, we shouldn't be surprised with Team Vizio finding success. Fury and Phonyhead are 2 been there, done that kind of players. I remember so many times watching their screen and just I'm like, this is just good, fundamental first-person shooters. Like, they stay alive, they put down shots, their rotations are on point. They're just high IQ players, and when it comes down to those 50-50 individual gunfights, let me tell you, I would not want to go against Fury at any point in time. That man will put you down.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back in the days when they were playing. I say back in the days, this was just last year, but this pandemic has felt like an eternity. Back when they were competing as THC, and I'm trying to remember the other squad. But yeah, they've been together for so long, and now they get their opportunity. They get the support of being on the Series E partner squads. They get the monthly salary. They're competing twice a week, at least every week. They get this experience that not a lot of other players will have the good fortune to be able to experience themselves. But here we go, heading into game number 1, and we got some interesting drops going on. A lot of focus being put on that northeast side of the map. So taking a look at Epicenter, taking a look at Climatizer, might have a lot of action early on. But this is Team Vizio. Our winners from last week had an amazing performance, put on some great game 4, 5, and 6 to end the evening strong. They got the 100 points as well to really put that feather in their cap. And the most surprising part, Tony, is that they drop here in what is a central part of the map, but it's a part of the map that doesn't typically have great loot. And so they are able to offset that by using this Loba.
I'm so happy. I thought I loved Fury before, but my man's rocking a Loba. Coming from a Loba main, she's the most underutilized. She's just so underappreciated. I want to see her be a fundamental pick coming in comp as literally stupid, dropping a great high IQ bubble right there, utilizing that Havoc, putting down some excellent damage on Gibby, but our Valkyrie player loses all of his shields, most of his health. Our rate's going to go down. So does Gibby, leaving our Valkyrie by herself, and she's going to try to get out of dodge.
It was just so difficult. Even though the damage was there, it was not enough because of that purple armor swap coming in. And so Lazarus will have the 2v1 advantage, and they just need to finish off one more. Lazarus, when you drop over here, Acclimatizer are no strangers to getting 50-50 now, and they instantly understand. They know what the assignment is. They have to track down this player. Where is he? Typically on the rooftop. They spot him out. That's going to be Musin falling. Lazarus will go ahead and pick that up. Look at the quick res, but now you have to kind of worry about the epicenter rotation, maybe even the survey camp rotation here, as they are in the next ring. So while we haven't taken a look at the map quite yet, the ring could be pulling up here for the next zone.
Yeah, we all know that Lazarus is a strong squad. Yeah, any squad featuring Presley, especially Presley rocking that Gibby, is going to be absolutely incredible. So that's one team that I probably wouldn't want to get into those 50-50 gunfights with. They obviously feel really comfortable doing so. Valkyries will be coming in. Let's take a look at the map and let's see what that's telling you, Jet.
Never mind. It was the HUD bug, and we still can't see the ring on their minimap. It is actually pulling down south, and you can see the pings going down. Lava Siphon and Launch Site are the big contests that are going to be taking place. But one of the power positions, with that next ping going down, it's going to be that south building on and the south platform. But hold on, we've got another fight.
And Unorganized playing really coordinated right now. They're putting down the damage, although our Caustic player is going to lose the shields, and Marmot ends up going down two different players. Rate to be by herself. I'm not sure what she's going to do in this situation. Unorganized waiting for her to come out with the... There we go. Finally able to hunt her down. That's going to be a quick squad wipe coming out of Unorganized.
The thing is, do you know what a Marmot is? Like, I'm familiar that it's an animal, and the only way I'm familiar with it being an animal is that I believe there was a Yu-Gi-Oh card. It was like arch nemesis Marmot of like something. But hold on, we got another fight. It's so many fights, and this is what I was talking about on open nights. Our teams are ready to try and frag out Nestle Splash, finding themselves in one of the power positions. When we called out the ring, this is where a lot of teams were pinging. This is the spot that they wanted to hold down, and you can do it, especially if you've got that Caustic. Take a look at him just closing up shop, making sure all the doors are locked. He knows, he told his manager, hey, all the doors are locked, we're good.
It's funny, there was actually a Yu-Gi-Oh card called Bombonic something, and it was like a cousin to a Marmot, which is like, it's like a cross between a squirrel and a beaver. Don't even ask me how I even know this. To be honest with you, as we're all aboard now with Splash having two players who are rocking blue shields, even one with purple, so they're clearly ready to fight here with 18 squads remaining. Let's see what happens.
Absolute Monarchy making their way on down, or maybe they drop over here at Lava City. They do have a team underneath them right now, as Sung has got the barrel set up. So they are ready if any team tries to push up, and they're going to utilize this time to try and control the stairway. You can see D going down there to spot it out, but they've taken the other rooftop. Luckily for them, though, for Sung, they've got this high ground, and they are dishing out the damage, and they are forcing them back.
Excellent damage coming in out of our Gibby player, barely taking any, and they're already dropping the Caustic traps, so trying to really lock that team into one general area. We might see a flank coming in, Thermites are in, but nobody home just yet, and more shots with the R301 coming out of our Gibby player. Let's see if they decide to get aggressive.
Nerf versus Intel, though, inside the middle of Lava Siphon right now. And it looks like Intel might get the better of them. They will. Another Loba squad coming in right here for Team Intel right now. That Intel buff definitely coming into favor. But like we said, there's something that you kind of have to adjust when it comes to night. You need to be able to play towards the open night. You need to be able to play towards the pro night. And right now, Team Intel are definitely playing it towards the open night. They're able to lock down a very secure position. They've got the beacon building here in Lava Siphon. And so when it comes down to this ring closing, they'll be able to go ahead and mantle up, throw down that bubble, get the scan, and know exactly where the third ring is going.
And we're back on board now with Kim Chi Lee, who I believe is a military veteran, actually. So thank you very much for your service as he's on board now. Oh, he's playing for Excedrin. So he's kind of a Series E veteran. As shots are starting to go in, Valkyries are trying to get out of dodge. They want no part of Team Excedrin.
Yeah, that's right. Service members. So in Korean, we would basically call them 부대찌개. That's just a joke for kimchi lee. I don't know if we've got any other Korean viewers here, but yeah. Team Vizio, they make their way on over to Tree. Doesn't seem like there's a beacon here, unfortunately, but they're just riding the edges for now. They'll have buildings and they'll have cars to play off of eventually, but right now it's all about the poke. It's about trying to get Phony that purple armor for himself and then work their way on in. We're down to 17 squads, and it's still round 1 closing. So yeah, the action has not stopped here in the early game.
And I love the fact that they're rocking this Loba and even Gibby as well, because I feel like they combine so well together. That Loba getting all of those explosives that you need to start a push. Starting a push with throwing a couple of nades is so deadly, and Loba allows you to do that, sometimes even mid-fight. One of the reasons why I truly love it, as we had a Gibby play was 20 damage away from getting purple. We're going to keep up on board with them. Hopefully, they're able to get that RCO, electing to rotate over toward the west side of the hill. Not ready to get into a fight just yet.
They don't have to force anything here, but we touch grass. They are the teams that getting currently pushed by Absolute Monarchy above them. It's Jet by himself. He's going to go ahead and take the time to try and heal up, but unfortunately for him, though, it's still man disadvantage in this fight. It seems at the very least one person on the ground, but he gets caught while he's going into the Beast of the Hunt. It was actually a 1v1, and Absolute Monarchy went out on that fight.
I mean, they're so proud of touching grass. You know, they get to get out of the lobby earlier. They can go take a break, go touch some more grass in the meantime. Meanwhile, AM going in for the revive on Caustic and now going to get it on Gibby. Looks like AM are back to full force.
Yeah, this is ring number 1. So even though they're currently outside of the zone, they can heal this one up. Stick Drift OP, trying to make sure they can't heal on the other side of this one. They want to put them in the ground, but it looks like that squad's just going to go ahead and back away from this fight, and you can see the good job that's being done by EXO right now. He's keeping tabs of them. He's on top of them and make sure that they're not going to get away for free, even forcing out a defensive bombardment of all things, and that's just for standing on that platform. They eat a little bit of that Gibraltar damage, they're going to be fine holding down the north side of launch side right now.
To be honest with you, I don't know if that was the right play. That seems like such an early bombardment coming in. There was no collapse following right afterwards. I'm not sure exactly what they were looking for. Maybe you can kind of let me know what exactly was the plan there. But it's such an early bombardment. There was no collapse with it. I think that could have been saved for another engagement.
Nestle Splash might be getting into another engagement, or it's just some love taps coming in from the other side. A lot of times, of course, with these multiple story buildings, teams are just going to coexist and try to poke at each other. Splash still trying to work on getting themselves the purple evos for those big boys. You know, you want your defensive linemen to make sure that they have good armor and good padding when they go in head to head. But for right now, it is a passive playstyle for them. It looks like it is going to be Team Excedrin that's underneath them right now.
Yeah, we have multiple squads over here fighting over for this position. 15 squads remaining at the moment, just 45 players on the map. You see on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, the sonar has been detected. They have all the information they need, but Splash are not getting collapsed on just yet. They're going to live to see a little bit longer, but eventually, as that hill gets smaller, some of these fights are going to be forced.
Yeah, typically what we see, if this ends up pulling out towards launch site, it becomes basically the killing field in that open ground between launch site and Lava Siphon. When we were talking about it, the meta, Gibraltar, that's why he's so necessary when you have to make those rotations up hills or basically anywhere in open ground, which is a lot of World's Edge. You need that bubble to try and succeed. Draco's just trying to show off that melee movement tech that a lot of people have been showing off on what is it, on Reddit. And I mean, there's plenty of downtime. Like, no one should be pushing them here, and so really all they got is time to perfect their movement.
And Caustic being that ultimate defensive ledge, obviously nobody's going to be pushing in just yet, but I mean, even if someone did, you're literally, with Caustic, you can control the way your opponents are going to push. You can literally use those canisters to not only do that damage and give you that information, but also even to block doorways. It's so strong, and to be honest with you, I'm not really a fan of the Caustic meta. I can't wait for it to cycle out, to be honest.
There's something sadistic about being a Caustic player. I felt it. I felt that power when I was playing him like season 1, season 2, right, when he was like a legend you had to unlock, right? I believe it was Caustic and Mirage. That were the first 2 unlockable legends when the game launched. And as soon as I unlocked him, as soon as I was throwing down barrels, my teammates are coughing. They can't see anything. They're complaining as well, and I didn't care. There was just so much power.
You know what? I can see that. That is that no one man should have all that power. Charge rifle still in the hands of a Gibby player, only 25 damage away from upgrading to purple shield. So I mean, the charge rifle, in my opinion, is the perfect weapon to get you that 25 damage. Hopefully they can get it quick as we're moving on to ring number 3.
Yeah, the charge rifle, the way that works, of course, you have the tick phase, where you've got that little laser beam going out, and then you've got the burst phase. And I believe there's 15 ticks during the ticking phase, and each of those ticks is 3 damage. And so as long as you hit like 50% of that hit scan, you're good, and you'll be able to get that. Right now, though, Team Intel, full control over the middle of Lava Siphon. I believe we were able to see on someone's map that, yeah, the ring is going to be pulling more northern, starting pulling away from launch site right now. Petty Boss, though, is trying to keep an eye on the south, and there might be a team inside this car. There might be an opportunity for Petty Boss to actually get in, maybe sneak in a couple Arc Stars and punish this squad. They are looking for the early kills. They were able to pick up 3, and Young Pop Tart has to back off as he lands right into some nades, and now the defensive bombardment goes down.
And Rejects are in a little bit of a bad situation here. That bombardment is coming down, and so are multiple nades. Vizio are looking really confident. Looks like he wanted to close the gap. Both bubbles already out. Peacekeeper gonna hit for 40. This man's going up. That's 109 beautiful shots coming out of Fury.
Now the bubble has been used, and we'll see if another team ends up showing up, but it looks like it's just some long-range poke coming out. We saw, of course, there were multiple teams holding that building, but they're unfortunately going to lose out on Phony. Maybe Scissors can hit that banner in just a moment. They have plenty of time to do it. It's RCO showing up for the third party, so it looks like it's going to be a no-go on being able to get that. Fury gets taken out by a nade. RCL just bide their time and are able to pick up the third party here. We'll see if they can get another kill.
Vizio was looking so good in that engagement. I love the collapse. I loved everything about that. Nades were starting off the push, early damage, and sadly they weren't able to capitalize on that situation. Intel now are just moving out here. They already have their Loba ult out, but oh, actually, they're getting some damage as well. Luckily, they have Loba, they have Valkyrie, so if they need to get that fast height advantage, both of those characters can do that. Sadly, Gibby might be a little bit slower.
Yeah, they were trying their full push. Absolute Monarchy about a full push onto a really strong building here on launch side on the northeast side. They've got the caustic barrels going in, and unfortunately, because they're fighting on the inside, they can only use their defensive bombardment to keep this team contained. Right now, though, it looks like they're just going to back away. It's taking way too long on this fight. A little bit afraid of the third parties. Team Intel getting into another fight of their own. Carbon on the other side of this one. Already gone down, losing out on one. Petty Boss pushing up, and that door is not locked. He only hits for 9 on that one, and somehow, even though he's further away, hits for the 36 with that massive, and he wants to chase him down. Will be able to secure this knock in just a moment. There it is. Jay Bevy going down, but that leaves Cody vulnerable by himself. He has gone down up top. That's Team Unlucky showing up for a quick third party.
And let me tell you, our opposing Gibby player was not ready for that level of aggression coming out of Intel. Literally chased that man down. Meanwhile, Unlucky already ready for Gibby to come up there. Early damage coming in from the flat line, forcing him to back down, but looks like Unlucky playing it kind of slow, waiting for the right moment. Trolley being kind of annoying there.
Yeah, I mean, they have a very strong position. They don't really want to give this one up now that they were able to kind of sneak in and steal this one away from Team Intel. Like we said, they have access to that beacon above. They can just go ahead and hit that once the ring finishes closing, throw down the bubble, and they've got 2 characters that can scan the beacon as well. And for right now, Casello's just throwing down the scans, realizes there's 2 players below. So this building is completely free for them to roam about to secure all this loot as well. Now Team Excedrin still playing on the southwest side. They've got another squad on the other side of this building, and it's a Caustic team ready to make their advance. Kimchi trying his best to bait them out, and he does buy some time, but his bubble is forced out, and he gets absolutely pushed. Draco's getting a knock onto him, and now Team Excedrin relying upon Cruisin, who gets a second knock here, taking out Blight. But oh no, that Caustic Gas has done so much damage. He's one tick away. He somehow survives for now. Hits the bat, but he has to hit the Q just to get out of there. Another Wraith showing up, maybe in just a moment, as he needs to take the time now to try and heal up. Again, one tick from the Caustic Gas will go ahead and knock him out, and so he will be able to get this medkit off and starts hitting the res.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure how our Wraith player was able to stay alive for so long. Meanwhile, Splasher going in for a res on their own. So we have Valkyrie, Caustic, and Gibby all up for our Splash squad. However, Valkyrie going down immediately and Gibby going down to one shot.
Looks like they will ultimately get punished throughout all of that. Team Excedrin, though, still trying to survive. Only getting the res onto enemy as Kimchi Lee was thirsted off. It's a full 3-man. There really isn't much to do here, as Razor are helping them out just a bit, getting that knock onto Oi Senpai. And so now Team Excedrin have a shot in this fight. It's a 2v2 for them over at that building, but will they prioritize trying to get their third back into the game? Or, well, I guess the other concern is that they have to start rotating now.
10 squads remaining and multiple of them just sitting at this moment. They're all, I mean, this is going to go down to about 5 squads real quick here. Excedrin pushing up with that alternator. Beautiful shots coming in, but Wraith actually going down all of her shields, and that hill just keeps closing. Things are not looking good for Excedrin. They need to frag out.
Things turning around super quick here. Despite being a man down, they've been able to pick up some solo kills here and there. About to pick up another one. It's Team Intel on their rotate. They end up running into Absolute Monarchy, who absolutely destroy them. A defensive bombardment has been used, but they'll be safe under the dome of protection. Every time enemy peeks out, he almost frags someone.
And the respawn beacon is going to come in, but they are not allowing Excedrin to use that. And mind you, the backs are against the wall here because that hill is right on them. Early nades coming out of our Wraith to delay them just a bit, and it looks like they are going to be able to get that revive. But the question is, what's going to happen after Kimchi hits the battlefield?
Oh, take a look at that. Malice Mamba on the wrong side of that Volta as well. You said you wanted to see. We are definitely seeing it. It is feeling a little bit sticky there, as their aim is just absolutely on point. Enemy punishing anyone who challenges him right now. The res coming in at the right time, though. We have 25 seconds left to go before the zone starts closing. And so as he hits the ground, they're going to be able to just go ahead and loot up. So Cruisin is right back into things. You can see Stick Drift OP currently playing as a 2-man just outside of Team Excedrin zone. Absolute Monarchy running the eastern side right now, creeping their way on up, trying to take control of this height. But they have 7 seconds as the zone will close in. That ring is going to start punishing them if they don't move fast enough.
Still on board with AM right now. A Caustic player having a gold R301, also having a Mastiff in his back pocket in case the engagement starts to get a little bit close range, poking out damage to R301. That player must be so annoyed. It's 12 damage over and over again because this Caustic player is not missing a single shot. Meanwhile, in 25 seconds, round 5 hill is going to be closing in.
Yeah, it looks like the ring is pulling over to the eastern side, which is why Absolute Monarchy is set up there. Team Unlucky. They had one of the best positions, and then they ultimately got a little bit, I guess, caught off guard by how many teams ended up pushing that building. And so it's just Prodigy Aces by himself on that Tomcat Ratcam. Lazarus are running the western side. With the zone to their back, they're still able to just run and gun and take these players out. That's going to be RCO getting finished off, and that's the ring ending up closing with plenty of space for Team Excedrin to be able to play behind this car. They get the res onto enemy as well. Now it's all about trying to survive. They note that there are so many Caustic teams still around them for now, and they don't want to draw that attention towards them.
Mind you, alternate player is actually running out of ammo really quick, so they might want to swap out soon as our Caustic player is cheeking out damage with the Hemlock and having a couple players in front of a couple players behind them. So Razor's kind of sandwiched in. They're going to try to rotate in. The Peacekeeper shots are coming in, but our Caustic player is going to go down.
Yeah, it looked like Razor got a little bit too overconfident there. You saw the triple take coming in play for, I believe, yeah, it was Bursty. He's basically rocking double shotguns here. He's got that triple take PK, swapping on over to the R3. There we go, having something that's automatic to actually rely upon now. But Zone 6 is closing. They are on the edge, and they are starting to get squared up. You can see they are backed up into a corner right now. And I believe I'm trying to figure out which team that is on the other side of this fight, but they're doing a good job of keeping them contained for the time being. You definitely don't want to allow that Caustic team to be able to walk up and start putting down those barrels.
Ooh, beautiful shots once again coming out of Malice. Mamba backing down the shield battery for just a little bit, but I'm loving what I'm seeing out of him. 1 minute 30 seconds to this hill's going to be closing in, but they're fighting off really well, and they're going to drop some Caustic canisters long range, hoping to get a little bit of information off of that, and also some initial damage so they can coordinate a collapse. Meanwhile, Unorganized, love what they did there, just trying to stay alive with a little bit of height advantage, but for how long?
Slow ring closing in. It's going to be the full set, and it is Team Excedrin on the other side of this one. Kimchi Lee receiving a large focus of that fight, but they will be able to win out on this one. Now the quick armor swaps allow them to refocus on the other side. Unorganized, Absolute Monarchy, the other two teams left in this lobby, and they are still having to contend with the Caustics. They're almost zoned out. Take a look at these barrels, all focused on them right now as Cruisin goes in with that port to get aggressive onto them. Means Excedrin need to watch their back as well, but there is a knock onto one before Cruisin goes down. Kimchi Lee's trying to buy as much time as possible, but ultimately they will suffocate, and now it's all Absolute Monarchy to finish off Unorganized. You can see them cowering in the corner there, but Absolute Monarchy will be able to finish them off. Game number 1 going to them.
Those were some beautiful shots coming out of AM, and it seemed like it was only a matter of time before the collapse come in, and they stole that win away. That was a good game come out of AM.
Yeah, and like we said, these games are going to be action-packed, and it did not disappoint whatsoever. We had, what, 3 50-50s taking place, essentially, at the beginning minute of the game. 17 squads were down before the ring even finished closing in round number 1, and that's what we expect here on the open nights. It's going to be nitty-gritty fighting all night long. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we get back, we'll have game number 2 of Series E right after this.
Verses coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true side trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Put the bars in the breaks. I'm talking one chance at the soul, goes for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Go! Excedrin. I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
Refreshing, refreshingly sweet, but without sugar, 0 calorie treat. They're all our top flavored smash.
It's fruit freshen.
Welcome back, everybody. Game 1 in the books here to kick off week number 2. And while Team Excedrin was looking really strong getting into the top 3, Kimchi had the squad looking real good there. Late in the game, they get caught between a rock and a hard place, and it ends up being Absolute Monarchy coming out on top, including former Pop-Tarts player Stomps there, and they grab the victory in Game 1. Let's check out our first player of the game here tonight to kick off the day. Big win there, of course, for the AM squad. And we'll see if they can keep things rolling. Obviously, we had an impressive performance from Vizio a week ago that's going to be difficult to duplicate. But we'll see what they can do here tonight. D, 5 kills and 3 assists. 1,800 damage just about. That is an interesting name. Or just a letter. But good job for D and the AM squad. I mean, just a little bit shorter than the team name, I assume. Well played, well played, well played. Hey, you know, I guess if production wants to troll me, it's my show now. All right? So, 5 kills and 3 assists, 1,800 damage there. Game 1 in the books. I'm going to go out and fight all of the production staff while we go to a quick break. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Eat, Speak, Compete.
Eat, Speak, Compete.
Yes.
Name, incredible. Logo, even better.
I'm your host, as always, Yeso, joined by my co-host, Luke Shimoni. Brew.
There's a lot to unpack there. I don't even know where to start.
If one of the North American teams doesn't win, their 2021 season is done. I got my fingers crossed. I think you got this. Let's turn more towards the competitive side. They finished strong.
Like 35-2.
They finished strong. They looked.
If the only intent is, hey, let's make this game as esports as possible, then sure, but that's never going to be what Nintendo does.
And I'm very curious to see what kind of their first take on what a Valorant World Championship should look like.
Dang. That's super fun sounding.
Yeah, I think it's going to go.
That sounds super fun. I think that
Everyone, Yeso Claus here to wish you a very happy holidays. We here at Esports Arena are definitely getting into the spirit of the season. And it all starts off with the 12 days of Gamesmas. Kicking off on December 2nd and running all the way through December 19th, we'll have tournaments going on for a range of awesome titles, including Apex Legends, Smash Ultimate, Halo Infinite, and more. The awesome part is you can earn points throughout the entire event. Now you get points by participating in tournaments, placing high in said tournaments as well, and if you come and donate canned food or toys for Tots. We've also got some awesome Esports Arena merch bundles going on all throughout the month of December. So if you're looking for a stocking stuffer or a present for that gamer in your family, make sure to check those out and pick one up. If you need any further information about Gamesmas and what we've got going on, head over to matchareno.com/ESA today and come and spend your holidays with us here at Esports Arena.
All right, welcome back, guys, to Series E. Game number 1, we had Absolute Monarchy taking the win there, and they had to fight for every last inch of that victory. We saw them getting into a fight in Lava City, fighting on their rotate, and of course, fighting at the end there for that win. But it was, of course, fighting nonstop throughout that game.
And nothing's given to you in these kind of events. You have to earn every last bit, and AM definitely earned it. Like you said, multiple fights, they got aggressive and they won their 50-50s. And on top of that, they looked really coordinated. It seemed like they had a plan, and it was all about execution from there, and they definitely executed.
Yeah, we are no strangers to Absolute Monarchy, so let's see how many kills they were able to get on the board. Taking a look at the Mobile One leaderboard, it seems like they got 8 kills overall, and of course took that first place plus 12, or excuse me, 12 kills overall. My math is just so off right now. Okay, so they got 12 kills. That's absolutely insane. But Team Excedrin, Team Razor coming up behind them as well. 15 points for Excedrin, and we got 12 points for Team Razor. We know what kind of headache that Excedrin were facing there, trying to get their third player back on in, rotating into Caustic after Caustic. I don't know if there's an antidote for that.
Well, I mean, not only is Team Razor had 12 points on the board here, but they actually tied with Unorganized for the same amount of points. It seems like obviously there's a big difference between first and second place, but then from there, it's kind of anybody's game fighting for the top 2 and ultimately for first place. We are tightly contested here.
Yeah, taking a look at the Mobile One high performance moment from game number 1. It was this Team Vizio fight that we started off with, and you can see how much utility they had. The nades were coming in. Fury's doing a great job of playing that bubble. Remember, you can get damaged by your own nade, and so he keeps that in mind throughout the fight, and so he forces the bubble fight on the other side, and if they get challenged, of course, if he challenges with a PK, they're going to run into that nade. Unfortunately for them, though, RCO come in for the third party. They're getting shot at by teams from Lava Siphon. And so while this fight was good, the aim was just too good from the third party squads.
Yeah, it was crazy because this push by Vizio was so amazing. They started off with nades. They bought enough time for them to close the gap, and their shots were on point. If it wasn't for that third party, Vizio would have been looking good, but RCO were on the prowl. Now we're going into game number 2, and something tells me it's going to be just as action-packed as number 1.
Yeah, we saw the 50-50s taking place, but here it is, Team Absolute Monarchy. You get the run of Big Mod, and I have to imagine a lot of Lava City as well. No, there's another squad there, so it's just going to be Big Mod for them. Luckily, though, Mod has a lot of great drops, a lot of great guns to come out of, and we also had that 50-50 taking place once again over at Climatizer. But taking a look at this first ring, the second one will be pulling on over towards No Name. The ping's going down for our squads there. Now, there's a chance this can maybe pull on to Fragment East, but we got to hold on a second. Absolute Monarchy actually gets pushed over here, Big Mod, and they lose out on 1. That's going to be Cooley picking up that knock onto Stomps, and now Sung is starting to get hunted down. D needs to show up. He was the big fragger for them last game, and now he needs to turn things around in this fight. There it is, the finish off, and Absolute Monarchy will win out in this fight in Lava City once more. Third party's coming up, though. Oh, no.
I'm not sure if AM were actually ready for that push right there. The Gibby player goes down, but they answer back beautifully, get the revive in, and as you said, that third party's coming in is We Touch Grass. They went out a little early in round number 1, and they'll start coming in for some payback.
Oh, Jet's the first one to fight, though, and now Rocky shows up. He's got the purple armor. He's backed them into a corner, but you can see the flame coming out. The Caustic Gas is getting thrown down as well by Absolute Monarchy, controlling so much space. But Boney Tony, he's got 2, and he is no baloney whatsoever. He is the real thing, picking up 2 kills for his squad, giving his life for the effort, but they will be able to get the res onto him. So Absolute Monarchy out, 19th place with only, 3 kills in game number 2.
Great third party by We Touch Grass, and great job for actually executing and finishing off those kills. I mean, it's easy to come in and get that early damage. It's harder to actually finish off a top team, and they were able to do so. And is that you playing? Are you casting and playing at the same time? Or, what's going on here, Jet?
I wish. I just got my new computer. Super excited. Haven't been able to play Apex as much as I would like to because, work. is happening. So good problems, but right now it's Team Nerf having definitely no problems. Typically a team that we see getting challenged over here at Lava Siphon, 50-50s almost every single week. This time around, though, they've got all the loot. Unfortunately for them, though, it doesn't seem like they've got the armor. We'll see. They're waiting on the gondolas to see if they can improve their armors here.
And I love fighting from over here. It's just you have that height advantage hopping right on top of that roof, especially if you're a Valkyrie player. You know, you can get from low ground to high ground in an instant. Love fighting from there, especially if you're good with a sniper. Get yourself a longbow, get yourself that triple take, and put in work. Meanwhile, Team Frenzy seem to be getting pushed. Our Gibby player's gonna lose all of his shields, and Unlucky are on the prowl.
Yeah, you can see Prodigy aces that movement with the Valkyrie. The passive is so nice, taking height so quickly there. Doesn't seem like the Missile Swarm will finish off that player, even though he was hitting for flesh. But at this point, Unlucky now. They understand they can't full push onto the squad. Another team's showing up from the Geyser side right now. It's going to be a lot of poking and prodding and information gathering coming out from Prodigy Aces. Costellos is playing that Bloodhound, but his scan is currently on CD, and oh no, Prodigy Aces has to back away. Valkyrie team coming in, landing right on top of their building.
Unlucky we're getting really aggressive and we're ready to push, and out of nowhere a secondary team comes in, and now we have a little bit of a third party, maybe a fourth party situation. Unlucky, we're kind of unlucky.
Yeah, they got the pings down. They want to try and back away and into the Doritos building there, and they do. It was Oxygen Esports holding down the cart on the northern side of No Name here. We don't typically see the ring pulling over here anymore, but it's still a fairly strong position to be able to play out of. But Oxygen Esports still have to be wary of that rotate coming in from the northern side. They were getting tagged there. You can see that is the high ground. So they don't really have control over that, and they're now going to go ahead and refocus over there because they don't really have to worry about teams coming out from No Name. Once teams get in there, they typically don't want to move out of No Name.
17 squads remaining at the moment with 51 players. You're just seeing Oxygen Esports just waiting for the right time. I mean, anytime you get into a little bit of an early engagement, especially with this many squads, you always have to be wary of that third party. I don't think Oxygen Esports want that, so they're perfectly comfortable just waiting things out, waiting for some of these teams to go down, waiting for that circle to move, and then ultimately they're going to make their move from there.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of waiting at this point. It's round number 1 closing, and so the window to try and fight is basically on over if you're playing center zone. But if you're on the fringes, if you're on the edges like Lazarus are here, they've got a team pinned down, and this is going to be a largely isolated fight for them. They didn't have to move too far coming out from Climatizer now. They understand they should have the armor advantage. They've got the purples and a blue, but you can see Presley's doing a great job of just making sure that they're scouting around, making sure no teams are coming out from Overlook to try and challenge them. If they feel comfortable, they should try and take that fight with the squad on the low ground.
Yeah, we're Presley prioritizing this southeast side of the map and making sure everything is clear. I only think it's a matter of time before they collapse on that team. Like you said, they have the armor advantage, they have the height advantage. All he needs is a one crack without taking any damage, and that's going to be a beautiful push. Meanwhile, Nerf are trying to create a beautiful push of their own, dropping the gas, making things really complicated. Haven't taken any damage yet, but that's going to change very soon.
Ooh, they're going to back away from this one. They've used too much utility there. They're down to 2 barrels right now, and so they don't really have the opportunity now to push up. They can just go ahead and play passive inside the tunnels. Really be surprised if anyone ends up rotating through the vault tunnel ultimately in the end. But they're still going to, of course, watch their back. You still have to do your due diligence throughout all this. There's another team actually just to the east of them right now, and they understand the timing on this. If they tried to make that push into No Name, they would have been caught out by squads rotating from the Geyser connector here. And Team Intel, they believe they might be running into Absolute Monarchy very shortly. Port has been used. There's one knock to try and recover, and it is not Absolute Monarchy, excuse me, Lazarus getting involved in that one. And so Team Intel, along with Lazarus, will go ahead and pick up a few of these kills. Now it looks like one last player remaining in that building.
Intel was so hungry for those kills. Looks like they're able to get those first 2, and most likely going to collapse on that third one very soon. Meanwhile, Vizio getting into an engagement of their own. Gotta be real careful fighting out of this tunnel. They're gonna take some heavy damage if they don't play it just right. Luckily, they have that Gibby, and I'm sure they still have a bubble available at any time.
Yeah, this was all about posturing. This was all about making sure that no one tries to take this position away from them. It's so extremely safe. You just have 3 avenues of entry that you have to watch, right? Your left, your right, and of course, that zip line down. And so they can just play safe here. They don't get poked at by anyone. They've got the black market boutique to try and grief people's loot. And so they don't really have to force the issue. Now, giving up that low ground isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's all about posturing. They hear the Valkyrie squad. They want to make sure they don't get landed on and contested here. So I like the presence of mind coming out from them. This is going to be a pretty passive game for Vizio at this point. They're going to be waiting for about ring number 4. If this ring continues to pull from Overlook, this is a beautiful position to catch teams on the rotate and get some free kill points.
And I'm not surprised by this. You know, last time when I casted Series Z and we were casting over Fury and Phone, it was the same kind of gameplay. They have no problem slowing things down and out-rotating their opponents. They take gunfights that they know that they're going to win. They just play good, fundamental, and high IQ Apex, and I love the way they're playing. Meanwhile, I'm going to try to peek out some damage here over toward the southwest side. I mean, I told you, man, Fury shot. You got to watch out for it.
This is the nice thing. When you have that Loba, and you don't have an upgraded armor, you can either steal one with the Black Market Boutique or steal enough ammo to make sure that you have the ammo to just go ahead and waste to try and get that. But right now, RCO Esports in Fragment East, they've got a team ahead of them inside this medical building here. As you can see, Nando wants to make his push on in, and he does have that big scope on it. I don't know if it's something that you want to use in this fight, but we'll see. It looks like RCO do have an isolated fight, and eventually they're going to want to push in on this fight.
Still on board with RCO. They're looking for any kind of opening here. And now looks like they want to take the low ground. So RCO might be going in for a little bit of a flank. And oh, here comes Valkyrie going right up in. Beautiful angle coming out of here. They had no idea. 75 damage here with the vault, making those players weak. And here comes the collapse. The cavalry is here, and so is the Peacekeeper.
Yeah, they're trying to play on the other side of that bubble so they can avoid Holiday, who had that window peek. And Nando and company are just picking them apart. Now, it's so thematic that we're here inside this medical building because that was surgical.
And that was all kind of brought by RCO, specifically RCO Holiday, jumping in, getting that cheeky angle over towards the window and putting maximum amount of damage. That was a beautiful angle by her, and I promise you that probably opened up so many angles for the rest of the team to collapse. Great job by our Valkyrie player.
Yeah, Stick Drift OP in a little trouble here. The Valkyrie Exo. Basically different kinds of fortunes as he is getting punished. That white Evo shield gets melted so fast, and now he's down to flesh damage. It looks like the squad wants to try and push them. There's nowhere for them to go except for using that Valkyrie ultimate to get out of trouble, but maybe they use it to actually just get into this position. But that's nice coming out from Sushi, hits that big headshot, and so that is going to give that team a moment of pause. Maybe we don't want to challenge him if they're going to be hitting those wingy shots like that.
Shoot, I agree with you. That white armor does nothing. I don't know how y'all were playing Apex without any armor whatsoever. God bless your souls. I would have quit day one. Meanwhile, literally vibing or trying to vibe out. They're trying to. I mean, they have the opening they want. They have the shield advantage. It's only a matter of time. But are they worried about a third party? Is the only thing I can think of right now. As our Valkyrie player getting all the way up on top of the cylinder, that could be really good for our opposing Valkyrie team.
Yeah, Musa needs to do the same thing, mirror that, not give away the high ground. Literally vibing, though. They know that this squad is just basically backed up to a cliff. There's no exit for them. They have the armor checks as well. They feel good on the HP advantage that they have. It's about ultimately pulling the trigger. And for now, like you said, that third party is the biggest thing that's giving them kind of a moment of pause because they don't want to get third party. They know that Team Intel's in the area. They know that Lazarus was in the area as well, but ultimately they will have to deal with them.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's either you commit to the gunfight or you rotate out. Like, you got to make a decision here. And I understand, you know, you want to be worried. Anytime you commit to a gunfight, you got to be worried about the third party. But I'm saying it's either you get in or it's either you get in or get out. It looks like our opposing team wants to get out of Dodge.
Yeah, so that's your only option. They had no way out. They had to use that Valkyrie rotate, and so that means that literally vibing will be able to have this eastern side of the map. We did see the ring, I believe, just for a short moment on the mini-map. I could be wrong, but it looked like it was continuing to pull on over towards No Name, so which is why literally vibing are starting to rotate. But when you run this 50-50, when you don't know it's between Overlook and No Name, you still have to kind of play Overlook because it's much easier to rotate out this way instead of out of No Name. So that's the game plan for them. They've got all this cover to move from as they make their way on through. And, you know, we had a squad that was holed up inside this vault tunnel, and it looks like they're going to get pushed by literally vibing.
And that's one of the reasons why you lean so heavily on your IGLs. You know, I myself, I'm a soldier. You tell me where to go. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna shoot. And I'm gonna put down damage. But your IGLs are the one making those calls. And ultimately, sometimes some of your deaths are gonna be because your IGL just didn't make the right call. Meanwhile, literally vibing, just cutting this angle off right here. 45 seconds before round 3 hill is going to be closing, and shots are starting to ring out.
Yeah, if they get confirmation that it's not a Caustic team on the other side, they could actually go for the full push. And it doesn't seem like it's a Caustic team on the other side with the outlines. There's not enough beef and not enough heftiness in these outlines. Unless, you know, he was on the workout regime. He's getting New Year's resolution started a little bit early there. But literally vibing can go ahead and spend their time here. Doesn't seem like anyone's challenging them quite yet. As you can see, all the Valkyrie teams now starting to make their rotate. Everyone is taking to the skies.
Yeah, we all know Caustic's the thick boy, but let me tell you, I'm down with the thickness. I ain't mad at you, Caustic. I'm pretty thick myself, man. But you know, like you said, New Year's is coming up, and I got some resolutions to make. I'm gonna get down to that to that wraith level.
I'm gonna try to hit that Revenant, you know, be that meaty, the thin boy here. But Razor, they use that Valkyrie rotate, take this car that Oxygen were in earlier on. They have to wait out on some of these barrels, and so that's what Malice Mama does. He just goes ahead and pops those. There you go. You got to be careful. And now I wonder where Oxygen ended up going throughout all of this. The action has slowed down just a bit. We're in round number 3 now, and it's 15 squads remaining, so much slower than what we had in game number 1. But here it is, Vizio. They did the same thing. They're going to go ahead and make their push. They've got the nades to do it because of the Black Market Boutique, getting a lot of value, but not connecting quite yet. There it is, the thermal in, and they're not ready for Fury, but the defensive bombardment slows him down just a bit. He does slide into his shield though, and now they're gonna go ahead and have their second try at this. It's Bursty on the other side of this one that ends up going down first. He has a big knockdown shield though, that's gonna help out slow things down. Fury now, the third party coming in for literally vibing. Here is a defensive bombardment as well. Jaren is able to get that knock onto Fury and onto Phony. Ultimate value off of that. The res, you have to cancel it. There it is, Banshee. He's able to spot that out, and now it's the 3v2, but literally vibing have taken so much damage here.
And the Peacekeeper doing 64 more to put that player down, and here comes the wingman shot's gonna go in for the finish. Beautifully played here by literally vibing.
Yeah, they pick up the third party, they pick up multiple kills, but now they might be the ones on the receiving end of the third party. Jaren's trying his best to survive, but he doesn't have a bubble. Now he needs to fight back. It's going to be Scissors here, punishing him throughout that. They've got the card to play off of. They're going to be able to hit this res. You can see the res being used on the other side. Moosin being a pal, throwing down an armor swap for Jaren so he can get quickly back into this fight. Vizio did survive. Fury's up, Scissors up. They don't have Phony quite yet, and it's still a 3v2. They have to be cautious how they play this, but not if you're hitting PK shots like that. Misses the next one, unfortunately, but the movement breaking some ankles here, and he gets the next knock, but it's not enough. Moosin survives with 2 HP. He's gonna have the gold bag res as well, getting Jaren and Betchy right back into this.
And I know Fury's just really frustrated right now. I mean, that is literally the second time in a row. Game number 1, beautiful collapse, starting off with the nades, early damage, go in, get so much damage, and you're right there, and then something happens that slows down your push, buying just enough time for a third party to come in. That is twice now that's happened to Vizio, and I know they're upset about that. They're gonna go into game 3 pretty angry.
It's going to be the Valkyrie deploy, the Skyward Dive coming out from literally vibing, moving from spot to spot. Unfortunately, the LZs are not quite clear for them. And they ended up basically like 20 meters from where they where they left. But here's Team Intel ready to make a push. There's multiple teams here, so they've got to be careful. The missile swarm applying a little bit of pressure onto them. Mooney getting tagged as well from the southwest side. Now Team Intel were not able to play with it, and so they're just running into squad after squad. Moosin gets the first kill onto them. Petty Boss picks that one up, and Moosin finds a second one. Now it's just Mooney answering back. That's Jared on the other side of this one, but literally vibing, are cleaning up this lobby right now. But now they might have picked, bit off a bit more than they could chew. Splash find themselves in a fight once again here, and it's going to be the caustic on caustic battle, playing through the gas, a defensive bombardment as well. And now he goes ahead and takes height, hits for the 74, but doesn't connect with the second shot and decides to back away while Dracos gets rezzed.
Now, this is the game 2 that we wanted to see. High action. We're seeing third party after third party after third party, and I'm loving every moment of it. Back on board here with Excedrin, we're just holding on to the top of this house, and look at the entire lobby is just huddled around this west side of the hill, and it's absolutely insane. It's like a cake with all of these layers and everybody collapsing on each other.
But Nerf is the only team that doesn't have that kind of pressure right now. They're playing outside of the vault tunnel. Everyone inside No Name currently. So they're waiting. It's 8 squads left. They're hoping some action breaks out so they'll have a free rotate in. It's round number 5. We have one more ring close and then that slow close after it here. Team Excedrin, masters of the late game, masters of being able to macro rotate into this and have a good spot as we touch grass. Remember, they are the squad that ended up knocking out Absolute Monarchy. Can they take the win here?
We're going to find out right here. I'm loving their positioning right now. Nobody coming up from behind them. They have that Beast of Hunt activated. Meanwhile, Beat Botcher in a heck of a lot of trouble here. There's going to be 2 players that are going to go down, leaving our Lobo player by herself. And I don't know if she'll be able to survive this. She goes down to almost losing all of her health. Luckily, she has a bit of shield, bracing almost nowhere. This is not looking good for BBB.
Yeah, Oxygen Esports ends up picking that one up, and Excedrin try to come in for the third party, but now they are getting punished themselves. Kim Chi Lee about the first one to go down as well. Enemy hits that bat, but like we said, the R9 Volt, the SMG is doing so much work for him as Kim Chi Lee gets finished off. Enemy goes down next, and there is Cruisin' falling. So now we're down to 5 squads remaining. Nestle Splash making their way into a building, and Blight peeks out, almost gets that knock, and the scan comes out. He's gonna try and secure this thirst. He will be able to get it. It's 5 kill points at the very least now for Nestle Splash, so this win could be a big one. It's 4 squads remaining, so you have to imagine there's a rat running around here somewhere.
And I was actually really surprised. Those Splash were going to start to commit to that. We're 5 squads still remaining. But looks like they back down, playing it smart, putting down that damage. I'm liking the positioning that they're having right now. And with 30 seconds left, they want to have that intel, find out where that hill is going to be pushing over. But oh my gosh, the wingman is really hitting.
Yeah, there's nowhere for Unlucky to go. Casellos gets a quick armor swap or hits a bat there, and eventually he will fall. And so the other squads helping out Nestle Splash, they're not griefing each other quite yet, but now Phoenix is making his intentions known. I'm not going to let you get away for this for free, and oh no, they're taking so much damage. Jet actually gets the finish onto Prodigy Aces. So now we touch grass. They smell blood in the water. They want to get involved here. They want to try and choke out Nestle on the other side of this one, but we touch grass. They have to be careful of Casellos as that third party. Even as a solo, he can put in a lot of work here. And now they've basically already moved up. There's nowhere else for them to go but forward now as they do finish off Casellos. So now it's the final 3v3.
That it is, but they've taken way too much damage, and here comes the bombardment. They had to use a bubble already, and now we touch grass. They're coming in for the collapse. They're going to lose their gimme player. Oh my gosh, their Bloodhound losing all their life as well, and that's going to be it. Splash are able to come out on top. They're going to take this lobby. Game number 2.
Game number 2 going the way of Nestle Splash there. They take their time and they're able to slow play that one, understanding what's going on in the lobby, taking advantage of a very damaged Unlucky squad who has basically had only that corner of the room to play off of and picking up a lot of those kills. Great deserved win from them. And so now we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we get back, we'll have game number 3 after this.
Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true side trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Put the balls in the brakes. I'm talking one chance that was so close for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Let's go.
We've seen a partnered squad get into the top 3 in both of the first 2 games of the day, but Splash was able to do what Excedrin couldn't, and they grabbed the victory here. Their opponents may touch grass, but they didn't touch first place in game number 2. So congratulations to Splash there. Big win for this squad, and we'll have to see if they can keep it rolling through the next 4 games. It'll certainly change things up on that Mobile 1 leaderboard. Excedrin and Razor were in pretty good spots after the first game. We'll have to see if they're still near the top there. And obviously, Absolute Monarchy was sitting with a considerable lead after the first game of the day. But we'll see how that shakes up when we go back to Tony and Jamerson in a couple minutes. But right now, let's check out our second player of the game here for today. This one's going to go to our good friend Blight. 7 kills, 3 assists, just short of 1,800 damage in that game, playing on the Caustic, looking really strong for the squad this time around, and they're able to grab the win here. So Blight with a big performance right there, and is going to need to continue to do so. Obviously, this is going to be a long season. It's an extended format now, as opposed to previous seasons here of Series Z Apex Legends. So while you can have some down weeks, it's important to be consistently performing to build and work your way up the leaderboard. Splash weren't as impressive last week, but at the very least getting a solid start here to week number 2. So well played there from Blight and the boys. Do want to remind you guys that we here at Esports Arena are opening back up again all across the country. So if you guys want to come out and play whatever title it is, maybe it's Apex, Guilty Gear, or Halo Infinite, or anything else, you can come out and see us. If you're looking for a location near you, just use !locations in Twitch chat right now. We're going to go to a quick break though. When we come back, our Mobile 1 leaderboard, and we'll have Tony and Jamerson get you ready for Game 3.
All right, welcome back, guys, to Series E. We're about to get into game number 3, but before we do that, we have to check in with the Mobile One leaderboard. Our winners from game number 1, Absolute Monarchy, ended up going down super early. They do pick up a few points, but they don't pick up any placement points, which is the important thing. So that leaves the field wide on open. So let's check in with the Mobile One leaderboard. Team Nestle Splash now cut that lead down to 2 points as they show up, taking that win in game number 2.
Yeah, like you said, AM went down a little bit early in game number 2, especially compared to game number 1. But kind of the complete opposite of things, We Touch Grass went off on that initial gunfight in game number 1. They went off and almost got first place. They were so close to getting first in game 2. That's going to net them 17 points, tying them in a 3-way deadlock for 4th place.
Yeah, with 4 games left to go, there's still plenty of movement to be made here on the leaderboard. And speaking of movement, let's go ahead and check out the high performance moments of game number 2. It was still pretty fast, but the mid game was a little bit slower. It was We Touch Grass here in the final fight as they tried to take advantage of this positioning coming out. Boney Tony was caught out by himself and they tried to reconnect with him. Boney Tony does end up getting Casellas, but the result of that was that, like you said, in the cast, they took so much damage for that rat and then ultimately got pushed by Splash.
Yeah, they just dedicated way too many resources to getting that one player when it looks like Splash was just thinking about the long game. And once they recognized that damage was done, they're like, okay, you're going to give us free damage? Great. We're going to take the win. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, and so they take the win. They put themselves within 2 points now of Absolute Monarchy, and this is a squad. I think we were having high expectations for Vizio for what happened last week, but right now I think all of our other squads are rising to the competition, are starting to play towards the lobby, and feeling a little bit more comfortable in the Wild West. That is the open night. As Game 3 is getting set up right now, we'll see if teams change things up. We're seeing a lot of drops. We're seeing a lot of 50-50s, and that is really impacting how our squads play.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I'm still going to have high hopes for Vizio. Like, I feel like it's 2 games in a row where they took their time, picked out the exact battle that they wanted, going for the collapse. They executed so beautifully, and then both times something happened that delays the push just long enough for a third party to come in and put them down. First time it was RCO. You know, they were upset about that. I don't remember who was the second time, but game 1, I know it was RCO. Somebody did it in game 2 and just wiping out a lot earlier. I just feel like you can't count on that to keep happening again and again. I think eventually now, game number 3, they're going to hunker down. Those collapses are going to come in. They're going to wipe out and execute just a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I feel like the overconfidence of having so many nades makes you feel invincible when you're going for these pushes, right? Because they're opening up with like 9, 10 nades off the back of that black market boutique that they use in rings number 1 and 2. And it looks good, but ultimately, when you're going up against the Caustic squad, like you said, it slows things down. And then you get third-partied, and that's 2 games in a row in a very similar situation where they're trying to push a car, where they're trying to push a team in a car that they end up getting taken out. And so hopefully they change things up. We'll see as we head into game number 3 of the evening now. And let's join on board with our winners from game number 2, Team Splash. How were they able to take that victory in game number 2?
Yeah, I want to start on board with them. Obviously, they're rocking that Caustic, Gibby, and Valkyrie. We kind of talked about that. Valkyrie is so good for those rotations. Obviously, Caustic, that ultimate defensive legend. You can turn any building into a defensive building, and it's absolutely amazing. You control exactly where your enemy team's going to push from. You have that intel, and then from there, it's about winning your gunfights, which obviously everybody in this lobby can do so. And then Gibby is Gibby. Value goes up as the hill gets smaller. If you want to finish games, you need a Gibby.
Right now, they don't have the armors for the Gibby, though. Currently sitting on the whites for Phoenix and Dracos, and that's a bit uncharacteristic, I would say, for a staging launch. Usually, you can rely upon some decent armor in the middle. Maybe they haven't hit that on their looting path quite yet, but it looks like Team Unlucky find themselves in an early fight. That's going to be Casellas and knock onto turrets, and so we'll see. It looks like some teams have made their adjustments, so we're not seeing the 50-50 over at Climatizer now, as we have a southern zone this time around, like we did in game number 1. Very similar. right, where it splits that difference between Launch Site and Lava Siphon. But this time around, I feel like it's heavily favoring Launch Site. Looking at the eastern side of that one, where there's the open ground between Launch and Dome. Open ground, though, for Unlucky has been covered as they make their way into some cover. As they have to back away, they're still fighting off of white armors here at Fragment East.
Yeah, I feel like EXO and friends are going to feel real comfortable with that hill landing over towards launch site. That's exactly where they landed. They have their backs against the wall. They have to really worry about too much behind them besides people that are anybody who landed dome and are rotating from there, which obviously we saw there wasn't much there. Now we're going to switch on board with Unlucky. Once again, white shields on streamer building. I don't know how that's going to come out on top. They need to get out. There's no way going to hold down streamer building with white armor. Meanwhile, literally Vibing going to lose 2 of their players, leaving our Wraith by themselves.
Yeah, it's absolute monarchy on the other side of this fight right now. And oh, he just got lost. He just got lost. There was a player up there the entire time, and he's looking around. I don't know exactly what happened there for literally vibing, but I think he just literally got lost in the sauce. So now Absolute Monarchy with the change up in their drop. We saw them go to Big Mod in game number 2. They didn't like that they had to get contested for it, and then have that ultimate third party coming from Lava Siphon. So now they're just going to take a bit more of a contained 50-50 by dropping over here at Overlook.
Yeah, they're getting crossed up just a little bit, but to be honest, even if they did it, I mean, it was still a 1v3 scenario, which at this level of competition, I'm not that good at math, Jet, but I'm gonna say the 3-on-1 definitely has the advantage there, and most likely it was only a matter of time before that Wraith player's gonna be hunted down and ultimately put down. 18 squads remaining, 53 players on the map. Who's gonna come out on top?
And there's no beacon scan here for Absolute Monarchy either, and so they'll either have to rotate for that one or just try and blind rotate. I think, you know, with how often the ring ends up pulling down to the south, down over there towards Lava Siphon and towards the launch site, they have a fair good idea of where this one is going. Hopefully, though, just for some extra insurance, they might have a scan here, and they do over at No Name, but they see some fighting taking place, and they'll take that as well.
Let's check out this way.
Yeah, I mean, this is an easy third-party situation. AM's going to try to get in. They're not going to overcommit until they see multiple players coming down on the kill feed. That's when they'll probably make their move, but they're going to start off here on this building over towards the south side. Meanwhile, that intel is going to come in. Bloodhound scanners, they know exactly what AM, and mind you, it looks like it's Vizio and friends who are getting involved in the action.
Yeah, team rotating through thermal, and they're about to learn why you don't rotate through thermal right now. Vizio, though, having some difficulty climbing up. Scissors ends up giving up that height, and they're backing away from this one. It's a bit scary now. Boney should have his bubble, though, just in case for this rotate, and they see the bubble being used on the other side, and so they feel safe to just back away. They're keeping their eyes on it, of course, and it's going to be a Valkyrie deploy used by that squad, but here comes another team showing up at that choke. Luckily for them, like we said, Phony has that bubble. They force one out on the other end. Do they have a defensive bombardment, as it looks like that squad is ready to push? They hit the bat, they back away once again, and now they're getting third party from every angle. You can see the Arc Stars coming in. Scissors the first one to go down, and it's RCO once more showing up for the third party. Scissors has fallen. Fury's going to back away, but RCO are not going to give up the chase.
And this is another unlucky scenario for Vizio. They thought their right play was to back down and ultimately hold down that tunnel, which kind of looked like the right play to me as well. But it looks like their opponents who actually Valkyried out of there, they're the ones who made the right play. They avoid the third-party situation completely. RCO come in and rain down hell. And once again, Vizio just, they seem to be taking the short straws, if you will.
Yeah. Over here, though, Unlucky trying to make this push on the squad. Looks like they're coming in for the third party. Casellas is in the thick of things, trying to find that window angle for himself, but Bubble is going to be forced out. Prodigy Aces need some time. Oi Senpai needs to buy it for him. Thermite's out, and he's going for that challenge peak. Big connect with it, but it's just going to delay. As you can see, both sides trying their best to heal up. The Bloodhound scan gives up the information. Now they're going to try and full push. It's Team Intel on the other side of this one. Now they have been able to full recover here. And they get that first knock. Oi Senpai falls. Intel, once again, needs to slow things down, but Petty Boss did not get the news. He's out there, he's fighting, and he gets that second knock. He's going to be able to hit this Phoenix kit to finish this one off strong, and Team Intel went out on the team fight and survived the third party.
Great frag coming out of Intel. Looks like we're back on board here with Fury, who's going to be that final player alive here for, and it just, oh my gosh, it's the Tomcat Rat Cam. But once again, Vizio always seems to get in that short end of the stick. Hopefully he's able to pull some banners away and get his teammates back. Meanwhile, Lazarus are going to take some heavy damage, and the bombardment is out, and they have no cover. They have no cover whatsoever just yet.
Yeah, they have to climb up this hill, but they might have done enough to force this team back. Again, they're under real no pressure, right? They have the Valkyrie, so if they want to rotate, they can just rotate past them, and the Bloodhound scan goes behind them just in case. It looks like no one's there, but process of elimination, if there was a squad here, they probably pushed over towards that vault tunnel, and there it is. Finally get the scan onto the player in the backside here. Doors left ajar, and he gets the big connect. Next one misses, but he will finally be able to get the knock onto Jay Bevy. Hits him with a little bit of BM. Vize showing up for his boy as well.
Giving that player the teabags, and I don't think he liked that flavor, to be honest with you. 16 squads remaining, 44 players on the map. It looks like they're not done yet. They're actually gonna replicate just a little bit and then ultimately rotate out because that hill is closing in. Luckily, it's just round one, so it shouldn't be too bad, but you still don't want to get caught too much into it.
Yeah, they'll be able to re-up on a lot of the heals that they ended up expending there. They've got the ultimate cells for Dank, and so they're ready for another fight, as that Beast in the Hunt will come up shorter now. They've also got that Valkyrie redeploy, so if they want to, they can go ahead, like we said, just move past this choke. But if they end up meeting resistance, maybe they slow things down just a bit. Team Excedrin, though, over here at launch site, they're playing the Western choke right now. They've got that Northwest building as Kimchi Lee is trying his best with his triple take to get up to that purple. Unfortunately for him, he gets cracked in the end there, and he does not want to get greedy. He doesn't want to try and get one more connect to get full value off this Phoenix kit, but it's still a Phoenix kit, though. He's going to go ahead and use that one up and go ahead and try to find some more damage once more.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I love the play. Like, you don't want to waste a battery for a situation like that. So wasting a Phoenix, I'm not mad at the play whatsoever. And hopefully he can finally connect with this triple take, get himself that purple armor, and then ultimately rotate from here. Because either they're going to want to get aggressive on that team, or maybe just rotate out. They don't have a caustic composition, so I don't see them holding down this building right here, right now. But we'll see what they'll do from here. Still 16 squads remaining at the moment. A minute and 30 seconds for the hill to move, so no pressure just yet.
You can see all these Valk rotates just going into that southern building on launch site, and they're kind of allowing that to happen. They want these teams to show up and start fighting because that leaves open that window of opportunity for them to come in for the third party. They hear a squad below them. Kimchi needs to connect, but unfortunately still not able to do so with this triple take. Airburst nades on top of him now, and he has to back away to his squad. So Team Excedrin just not able to get anything going off of this position, unfortunately. So we'll see. Again, Kimchi Lee, 54 damage off. He has that triple take. It's one full connect. If he gets one pellet to hit the headshot, that's going to be the purple armor for himself. Otherwise, it's going to be two shots here with that triple take scan out. And that team is going to go ahead and give away that position, allowing Excedrin just to play this top side by themselves.
And let me tell you, I know for a fact Kimchi Lee wanted to collapse on those players and make them pay, but there was no way he can commit to a gunfight like that when he knows there's at least one and maybe even two other teams right around. The moment he commits too much to that gunfight, him and his entire team, eventually it's opening themselves up for a third party, and it's not the situation they want. But I can tell he wanted to drop down and wipe that team out quick. Meanwhile, Wraith player actually getting really frisky, losing all of her shields and even half her health right there. Not looking good. Gotta be careful with that one. Too many cracks like that, and the team is going to collapse on you.
You can see that ring. It is pulling away towards the eastern side of launch site right now. That open ground a lot of teams are considering here, but for the time being, it's Nerf playing on basically the alleyway of this northern building. There's this another squad inside, and they are eyeing things up. And with damage like that, if Turns keeps hitting the wingman shots, they'll have an entry to go on in, leaving that squad a bit vulnerable now. It's just the caustic gas on the other side that slows things down. Unfortunately, Messiah can only do so much on the caustic himself, but Turns is really doing a lot right now with this wingman.
And there's a lot of implications with this gunfight that you're seeing right here, right now. I mean, this is where the hill's ultimately going to be rotating towards. So everybody's really fighting for this position. Now, we don't know what's going to rotate from here. Obviously, we're going to find out about 39 seconds when somebody's able to scan a beacon. But either way, this is a really important, pivotal gunfight that we're seeing right now. And we're going to see if Nerf can control it and ultimately win it so they can have this advantage.
Yeah, 25 seconds left to go for round number 2 to close up, and Nerf, they're just poking and prodding here up against the enemy squad, forcing out some utility. Nades are being used, and Messiah with this angle punishes him. That's going to be 245 shots, but now the Nox gas grenade is right on top. The bubble, though, will cut off that gas and allow them some safe space to play off of. Messiah, though, as that caustic doesn't get affected by it, will be able to peek out, but he might get punished for it. Drop down to about 10 HP as he swaps position. There's a barrel on the other side of this one, and Oxygen Esports are choking them out with that one. They're not going to go ahead and overstep their bounds. It looks like they are happy in their position. They don't want to throw things here, and so they'll just reset and allow on the other side for Nerf to reset as well.
Yeah, Oxygen Esports isn't really winning the health battle. They actually took massive amounts of damage thanks to that beautiful spot by turns, but they have the better positioning. So if I'm them, I'm not mad whatsoever. Meanwhile, it looks like there was an ultimate bombardment being called, and Nerf have no cover. I'm not sure if these missiles are going to start to hit, but if they do, Oxygen Esports will take advantage of that. I promise you that an early bubble is going to come in.
Yeah. You don't get full value off of the defensive bombardment there just because you're working in an alleyway, the shots come in or the rockets come in from a slight angle, and so a lot of it does get covered by the roofs. And so while they do get tagged a bit, the bubble is ultimately there for them. They'll be able to maintain that position, and the ring does end up closing. So a lot of these squads know how strong this position is, how they need to be able to utilize this cover for the next ring. We haven't been able to take a look at the map yet, but I suspect that it's going to continue to pull to the eastern side once again. And hopefully, maybe just a corner of this building will be in for these teams to play off of.
And Oxygen Esports just still kind of playing with their food, just tossing a couple of crates over there. And I'm noticing one thing from this tournament here is that these games from game number 1 to game number 2 got a lot slower. And now game 3 is even slower than that. But as I see that, it's like Vizio getting heavily into the action. Our Gibby player is actually going to go down all the way down to 1 shot. And it looks like Loba's going to take some damage as well. This is not looking good. Still going in for the challenge because the revive was coming in for our opposing team. And it looks like they might have been able to get that one off.
Yeah, it was Team Intel versus Team Vizio there as Malice Mamba is able to hold it down, getting the knock onto Messiah, and now Team Nerf. I believe that's just a 2-man calling it to get out. Nice connect from Protectable there mid-air as they're happy to be able to take this position now. They don't have to worry about being challenged from that alleyway as it looks like Team Vizio are continuing that push onto Team Intel. They got to finish off that fight quickly because you can see the third parties are trying to come on in, and so now as they push out, it looks like they will be able to finish off Team Intel, and they know that the third party is already coming in as a Cooley actually steals one of the kills away.
And I truly believe that was the best play for Nerf. I mean, they were doing a great job of winning the health battle. They were hitting all of their shots and catching the cheeky angles, but they ultimately were in a terrible position compared to Oxygen Esports, who were just holding down that building. It was only a matter of time before Oxygen Esports ended up getting the cracks they needed to collapse on them and put them down. Nerf needed to get out of there. I believe they recognized that, and that's what you saw. 14 squads still remain. It looks like Oxygen Esports, once again, I don't know, it can't be Nerf again. It has to be now a different team going into the same exact position that Nerf was just in.
And unfortunately for Oxygen Esports, they weren't able to recover anything, right? Even though they had gotten a knock on one of them, they were never able to recover the loot. So everything that they expended, all the heals, all the nades, that has gone to basically being drained. And so they don't have that utility for this defense. The utility they have, though, is Protectful. He's got these barrels down, slowing it down, making sure that no one can push quite yet. But that's going to be his last barrel for now. He might just want to insta-pop this if he needs to. And he has that Nox gas grenade now to play off of as well. Covering both angles is Oxygen Esports, and that's going to be the pre-pop on the barrel as the scan comes down from the enemy Bloodhound. Another barrel just in case the push comes in, because like we said, that is their only utility to try and slow down this push.
I mean, but to be honest with you, it's a pretty darn good utility to have. That's the reason why you run a caustic. If you feel comfortable holding down buildings like you're seeing right here, that's what you do. But the angle's gonna come in, and here comes the collapse. And now Oxygen Esports are in trouble. Gibby's already holding down that door. This is not looking good.
But you saw that instant reaction coming out from Oxygen. As they knew that flank was coming in, they covered the doors. They made sure that they do not get pushed. They cannot get pushed for free, but they are starting to run out of time. They have to move out of this spot before they can even heal up. They're taking that Valkyrie redeploy as well. Kupski getting shot mid-air, and they're hitting the 360s as quickly as possible to get out of dodge, but they are not safe quite yet. They need to find a safe LZ. There isn't much ground to play off of. Luckily for them, though, seems like a lot of the eastern side might be free, but Protectful is continuing to get shot, and Kupski goes down. Do they have a bubble to try and get the res? Protectful will fall as well. And now Oxygen Esports, they're the ones that end up running out of breathing room, and now Rejects looking to finish them off, but they have to deal with another squad pushing out.
And that was a dangerous launch, almost actually paid off for them. Sadly, he's going to be taken down. At least two of the players were. Hopefully, they get out of that situation alive, but we're going to find out a little bit later on. Meanwhile, Rejects are trying to enter into this building over towards launch site. They're trying to stay alive. The heals are going to come in, and once again, another team holding down a building with the caustic composition, and then you're trying to break in, but it's tough. It really is tough.
Yeah, they do pick up a few kills there. That's going to be one onto Razor as well. 10 squads remaining now as that ring continues to pull to the southeast side of launch site. And they are smack dab right in the middle of this ring. They should feel fairly safe. They do see some action taking place over at Mini Dome. That's a defensive bombardment going down there. We'll see if they can steal away any kills. There's a knock on them. That's a big purple knockdown shield. You have to get through, though. He's got the 30-30, and that's definitely something that can help with it. As Vizio make their next move, that's Lazarus on the wrong side of this fight now. Vizio able to pick up things, and it looks like they did learn their lesson from game numbers 1 and 2. Not fighting off too much and taking things a little bit slower, but Excedrin tried to show up for the third party, already forced out the bubble, and they get the knock onto Phony.
Excedrin having a beautiful position on that, and they're just doing that long-range damage. Meanwhile, Gibby trying to bite off a little bit more than he can chew. He's going to go down instantly, putting our Bloodhound and Wraith player by themselves in an awkward position. Rejects just sitting up high with the 30-30, putting down damage.
Yeah, they are third-partying that fight that we were just on board with. Nice missile swarm as Fury is able to secure that knock and the kill onto Kim Chi Lee. So Team Excedrin are going to be forced to play this one out as a duo. We'll see if Team Vizio can get their squad mates back on in. It looks like it's just Phony up for them right now. As does he end up hitting that Black Market Boutique? Maybe he can get a mobile respawn beacon through that if they can move their way on up. Maybe Excedrin could do the same thing, but do they have the time to do it? The ring's closing in right now. It's round number 5. This one hurts.
Still 7 squads remaining, 19 players actually on the map. Rejects having great position right now and really not being contested whatsoever and just hitting every 30-30 shot. Finally, some firing back over towards Wizard Coin, but all he has to do is back down and ultimately play a cell. Sonar's coming in, so are the nades, so hold on. Rejects might be getting pushed right now, and there's teams that can get a third party. There's teams that can actually knock them down. Rejects need to be really careful with this position.
Yeah, they are outside. They don't have much coverage to play off of. Really, the only cover they have is whatever barrels they can use for that. As Nestle Splash, winner from game number 2, they've got a team on height, and the Nox Gas Grenades goes right down on top of them. The bubble has been forced out, but it looks like they are able to survive that for right now. Stick Drift OP with an eye on it as well. Looking at the third party, but they don't see the Nox quite yet. They're just happy to hold this height, hold this building, have the extra coverage that the other teams don't have. Splash, survive that push. That's Oxygen getting cleaned up in that one. So now we're down to 6 squads here. It's the final zone, 44 seconds left before it starts closing in.
And to be honest with you, Oxygen Esports, they actually survived a lot longer than I thought they were. They were in awkward positions over and over again, but at least they recognized it and got out of them, and even stayed alive for as long as possible. Finally, they are going to be taken down, and Stick Drift might be getting pushed right here to the team right outside of the door. It looks like that team doesn't want to commit just yet, though, but eventually they're going to be forced to. This hill is not getting any bigger.
Look at Sushi being a pal, just Amazon delivery guy here fights through all of the action and is able to deliver those cells to his teammates now. Final ring closing on in, and Stickdrift OP, they don't have to do anything. The barrels are doing all the work for them. Rejects can't push. You can see this is straight up just the line of scrimmage. You can see all the barrels there in a line. They're replacing them as they go as well. A mobile respawn beacon being dropped out on either side. Reses are going to be coming in for our squads as this ring starts closing in.
I mean, Rejects has been outside this building for so long. Mind you, I mean, they have a team inside the building. They had multiple teams outside that had angles on them. I don't know how Rejects are still alive right now, but they are. I do see a down off screen. Actually, it looks like Scissors actually going to go down immediately. That's going to be really bad for Vizio.
Yeah, that was the reses coming in for them, I believe, catching them out mid-air at this point. Rejects now have that opportunity to try and make a push if they want to, but you can see how things get slowed down. Once again, that Caustic, it's unorganized. On the other side of this one, Luck-based killer by himself, currently getting challenged, and he will go down. Splash, pick up that kill, but now they need to get res onto Blythe, but the ring is closing in. That was not a visual error, unfortunately, for Nestle Splash. And so with 4 squads remaining, it's all full squads as well, except for them, and so they'll be playing this one out as a duo. Challenged on the low ground by Cruisin', by Enemy, and Kimchi Lee, who was brought back into this. It looks like Splash might be going down.
Still on board with Rejects, our final 4 squads, and there's nowhere to hide. 41 seconds before the final round is closing in. This is it. This is going to be the final battle, and finally, Rejects are gonna, I think at some point they have to push. There's no way they're gonna be able to sit here rent-free like they're doing, and they have done for the last 2 or 3 minutes. This is crazy.
Yeah, they wait out the defensive bombardment, and that bubble comes out just perfectly there as they top off once more for this fight. And so as this fight takes place up top, it might be Team Excedrin who can come in and take advantage of this. The trades are there. Kimchi Lee comes in, but they lost out on too many, unfortunately, and it will be Stickdrift OP able to bide their time inside their building, push out at the optimal time, and take the win in game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, they sat up in the building for so long. I believe they had that Caustic just hunkered down there. Rejects were chilling outside for quite some time, and I was kind of weird at first that Stickdrift didn't take advantage of, especially when those shots were starting to ring out from the outside, where Rejects kind of were like the meat in between that sandwich. But they said, no, we're just gonna chill out. We're just gonna wait. We have no reason to move from our spot, and then eventually it was only a matter of time before they stole that win.
Yep, that's 3 games down, 3 games left to go as we hit halftime. We're going to take a break, and when we get back, we'll see if Team Vizio can turn things around because we've had some amazing games, so you're not going to want to miss that. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Eat, Speak, Compete.
Eat, speak, compete.
Yes.
Name, incredible. Logo, even better.
I'm your host, as always, Yeso, joined by my co-host, Luke Shimone Brew.
There's a lot to unpack there. I don't even know where to start.
If one of the North American teams doesn't win, their 2021 season is done. I got my fingers crossed. I think you got this. Let's turn more towards the competitive side. They finished strong.
Like 35-2.
They finished strong. They look.
If the only intent is, hey, let's make this game as esports as possible, then sure, but that's never going to be what Nintendo does.
And I'm very curious to see what kind of their first take on what a Valorant World Championship should look like.
Dang. That's super fun sounding.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome.
That sounds super fun. I think that, like,
It's fruit refreshingly sweet, but without sugar, 0 calorie treat. They're all our top ultra-flavored smash.
It's fruit freshen.
Now, even the biggest headaches are toast.
Excedrin keeps your head in the game.
Or no more throbbing noggins.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
Welcome back, everybody. Stick Drift OP take game number 3 to wrap up the first half of action here to kick off week 2 of Series E Season 4. Great win for them. Let's check out our next player of the game this time around. And then I want to talk a little bit about Team Vizio's performance from last week. It was a historic showing, so we'll get into that one now. Okay, let's start with Team Vizio instead. So I want to talk about Team Vizio's performance last week. If you missed Open Night a week ago, Team Vizio showed up and dominated. They had 119 points on the night, which is the best single night performance we've seen from a partnered squad since Season 1 Team Razor. You can see on your screen now, 55 kills, 1.5 was their average placement. That was 4 wins, including the last 3 games in a row, a second place and a third place. So they never finished outside of the top 3. And you see the team averaged just over 4,800 damage a game. It was one of the most dominant performances we have ever seen from a team in Series E, and it's a big reason why Team Vizio is going to be a threat this season. They were my pick to win this season on Giraffe Day, and they certainly showed that they are here to crush the competition with their Week 1 performance. Granted, they did stumble a little bit on Wednesday night, and they haven't necessarily been front-running so far here tonight, but I will promise you, this will be one of the most consistent and biggest threats throughout this entire season, so make sure to keep an eye out there for the boys on Team Vizio. Now let's check out that player of the game here for game number 3. Obviously, Stick Drift OP grabbed the victory, and that's 3 different squads grabbing wins in the first 3 games, so that'll make things, again, continue to be interesting on that Mobile 1 leaderboard, because it just means squads aren't quite pulling away from the pack. But it's going to go to EXO this time around. Not huge numbers for the side of Stick Drift OP. It's just 2 kills and just short of 1,900 damage for EXO here. So they may not jump up to the top of the standings, but at least some good points under their belt will help out. It still looks to be a contest between Absolute Monarchy, Splash, and Excedrin with the way things have panned out through the first half of the day. But still 3 more games ahead of us to decide who is going to be our open night winner here in week 2 of Series E. Do want to remind you guys, if you missed our announcement over the weekend, or another one that we had a couple of months ago, Esports Arena has signed their first couple of casters and influencers to join us here at Esports Arena. And you've been listening to both of them all throughout the night tonight. Jamerson and our friend Why Not have joined us here in Esports Arena. We are super excited to have them, to continue to work with them. They are incredible, incredible talents, and we want to show you a little bit about them.
Splice running it right on back, 62 on overpass. So now Gerald here playing with that op, actually gets the kill onto Hazard, switches on. So far, Shroud stuck on ramp is gonna have to fall. He doesn't just want to win, he wants to win with style. Right. That bash penalty there. And Cloud9 taking it 2-0 against OMG. We are gonna go ahead.
Flankers in with the heirloom. It's gonna be mano a mano, hand-to-hand combat to finish off Series E. But Presley runs off with the armor swap. He has no armor. Presley has given.
What's up, guys? Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Casting, and I'm kind of a freaking big deal. If you don't know, now you know. And that big mind does this man even missed? Insert team name here are going off right now. Back on Renegade, goes after the double. Oh my god! And plants it on the one and only's head. 3 down, go team next. The avenue is absolutely out of control. If this man isn't the best player in the lobby right here, the body shot on Frosty ends up getting the double kill, and that is going to be a killing spree.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
It's fruit refreshing, refreshingly sweet, but without sugar, 0-calorie treat. They're all our top fresh flavored splash.
It's fruit freshen.
All right, welcome back, guys, to the second half of Open Night here for week 2 of Series E. And we've had 3 separate winners so far, and so we need to check in with the leaderboard to see where all of our teams are landing. So let's go ahead and check in with the Mobile One leaderboard. Nestle Splash with another top finish. We're able to get 36 points on the board. Team Excedrin, though, now are in second place with 32 points. And so the top is looking super close.
That it is, and notice how game 3 winner Stick Drift OP, I guess, wasn't able to put enough kill points on the board, or maybe some points earlier in the game, because they're still sitting in 5th place even after the big win. AM was holding on to a top spot for a bit. They're going to sit in 3rd place at 30 points, but everybody within striking distance. We're only halfway done. You can see that with the game starting to get slower and slower, and teams starting to take it, maybe teams might start to take advantage of that and get a little bit more aggressive, get a little more kill points on the board, and sneak in to that top 4.
Yeah, let's take a look at the high performance moment from game number 3. And things did slow down, like you mentioned, and a lot of it was around this building. You can see how tentative everyone was in taking these fights. And this was, a situation we were sticking on board with for about 2-3 minutes. And it was just Rejects trying to hold this one down. But the entire time, you can see Excedrin coming in for the third party. But ultimately, Rejects lost track of Exo there. He was the big MVP of that game for them, staying alive throughout that 3-team scramble, and they are able to take the win off the back of that. So now let's go ahead and head into game number 4 here, the second half of Series E. Let's join on board with our winners from game number 3. That was Stick Drift OP over there at launch site.
Yeah, Rejects were sitting outside of that building and just living rent-free for so long. Stick Drift OP waited to the right moment and struck when the iron was hot, ended up getting a big win and slide into that top 5 spot. And let me tell you, if they have another game like that again, I promise you, they'll easily sneak into the top 2.
We had a lot of teams, though, in the middle of the pack, right? Even though our leaders are currently at 36 points, there are about 5 teams currently who have 18 points. So that's an 18-point difference. That's not much. That's one win, and you're right up there on the top of the leaderboard. So we still have 5 squads that could instantly propel themselves up. Speaking of up, though, we have another Northeast zone. This time around, it's heavily favoring a bit more Fragment Eastern side and on that no-name. So the Overlooked teams don't really have a shot there. And speaking of overlooked teams, we have that contest once more.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like that hill pulling towards Fragment East. The real gunners go Fragment East. I miss a lot of shots, so I try to avoid that area as much as possible when I'm playing ranked. But with that hill moving in, you better make sure you're on your P's and Q's. You're winning your 50-50s, and there's nowhere to hide with that hill pulling that hard that way. Meanwhile, we're back on board with Stick Drift, still trying to make sure they get all their resources down before they rotate out.
Yeah, they've got the replicators to play off of, and they still have plenty of loot they can probably find here. You can see they are taking advantage of that replicator for the time being. We'll see if maybe Flinzer tries to hit it. He's got 60 credits in there, so he should be able to get himself a blue Evo shield if they need to. And here it is, Absolute Monarchy trying to make their push on in. They're stuck in the backside of this building right now. Sung trying to slow things down, and it's just Stomps. It's actually separated from the rest of the squad. And so, literally vibing. Have this isolated 3v2 if they want to push, but you can see that the Caustic Barrels themselves basically make up for that man disadvantage in this current position. And also, Stomps on the outside is proving to be a thorn in the side of literally vibing.
Yeah, at first it looks like they're forced in a bad situation, a 3v2 situation. However, this might be by design here. Stomps has a beautiful angle over towards that top platform. Meanwhile, like you said, AM are utilizing those canisters as not only intel, but that early damage of really locking, literally vibing outside this building. It's beautifully played right now, but shots are starting to ring out. Our Caustic's actually going to be losing all of his shield, and so there's our Valkyrie player momentarily. They got to be careful. The push might be coming in very soon.
You can see they're so scared to make this push because of these barrels. He was trying to creep up, not popping the barrels, and the arm shield was instantly getting taken down by Absolute Monarchy. This fight is taking so long. Kind of want to see Literally Vibing actually just backing away from this one. You have to expect the rotations coming out from Epicenter and from Climatizer, so a third party should just be on the horizon. Team Intel, though, right in the thick of things as the bubbles have been used over here at Fragment West right now, and it's Petty Boss who needs some moment to heal up, and it's a trade 1-for-1. Mooney gets a second one onto Oi Senpai. Now it's a 2v1, but Team Intel don't have that much HP, and he only hits for 11 on that Mastiff. Now on the other side of this one, Team Unlucky, they want to take the advantage here. They know that they were able to do a lot of damage, but Prodigy Aces himself needs to reset, and there it is. The third party is coming in. So very unfortunate circumstances for both squads, as they should be getting cleaned up. Prodigy Aces is caught out, and there it is. He goes down. It's Oxygen that come in for the third party to clean that up.
Yeah, one of the rare times when two teams decide to engage and nobody comes out the winner in that one. The real winner is this third party, Oxygen, who just come in, clean up house, and now putting in some more damage. But here comes a fourth party. They're getting into another engagement as well.
Ooh, Team Razor on the bad side of a fight here, as it looks like RCO made their rotate in from that lava fissure side, and we're able to pick up a couple of those kills. And you have to imagine the Countdown team typically has some purple armor, so RCO should get those swaps eventually, but they want to finish out the fight. They want to finish off the third. He's in the middle of nowhere. That's that full connect coming out from that triple take. Good one on him, and so they will be able to pick that up. Literally Vibing, though, finally are able to find an opening in the fight. They got the knock onto Stomps, but throughout all of that, Absolute Monarchy do strike back. So this might be a 2v2, and Moosin gets challenged on the roof, and there's a second player right behind him right now, but he is firing back. He gets the knock onto D. It's a 1v2. Make that a 0v2 as they finish them off, but this is the third party already coming in. Moosin tried to get out of dodge with that redeploy, but he had to cancel it. Now it's on cooldown. He goes down. Lazarus, the team coming in from Climatizer. Like I said, fight taking so long, you have to be wary of this third party, and Lazarus finally strike.
One thing I learned quick about Apex is you have to be quick. You got to be quick to collapse or quick to rotate out. But the more time you take, you're just buying that time for another team to hear what's going on and ultimately collapse right on you. And here comes Lazarus finally funneling down to that final player. Gibby not going to stand a chance. 16 squads remaining. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a new kill leader.
The Rejects make their way into a no-name here. This is a very similar situation, or a similar position that they were playing off of beforehand. And now, though, a lot of the congestion that normally takes place here at No Name, it's not happening because of the overlooked fight that takes place. That was two squads that could have rotated in here a little bit earlier. But because there's no congestion, because there aren't as many teams here, we might actually see an early fight. Nades are coming in, and a lot of them at that.
Yeah, but so far they're so good. They haven't taken any damage just yet. But that team does. That team's ready to push at any point in time. Meanwhile, there's a Valkyrie team coming in, a little third party. So now we have 3 teams at least funneled over towards this area. This is right where the hill is going to be rotating towards. So a lot of implications on this gunfight. Nobody wants to leave this area, but it's all about winning your individual gunfights and avoiding that third party.
Yeah, it looks like the other squad didn't want to kind of fight that one out, as it looks like we might have a server crash, unfortunately. And I don't know what it is about open nights. Well, it's typically Tuesdays, and, you know, patch days and servers are kind of hot garbage on Tuesdays. So we're going to try and figure things out. We'll see if we can get back into game or if we have to reset the lobby. We're going to go ahead and take a short break while we actually figure that one out. So thank you guys so much for sticking with us through the technical delays. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Verses coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true side trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Put the bars in the brakes. I'm talking one one chance at the soul, going for the goal. It's one all, one shot, now the future is yours. Let's go.
Welcome back, everybody. Apologies for the delay there. Obviously, the TO is going to get us right back into the lobby as quick as possible, and we'll get Game 4 back underway as soon as that's ready to go. But in the meantime, we could just hang out here and kind of talk about what we have seen so far. I want to pull up, though, our overall Series E standings here so far to this point and just go through that. Obviously, the picture was looking really nice for Team Vizio at the end of last week, so we'll pull this one up full screen for you folks so we can take a look and just talk about kind of where all of the teams are at this point in the season. Obviously, things very early here, but we'll pull this full screen. Thank you. Awesome. So Team Vizio right now, 152 points last week. Obviously, during my last segment, we discussed the incredible night they had last Tuesday night. 119 of those 152 points came just from the first night of the season. Meanwhile, Team Intel right behind them and Team Excedrin there, both above 100 points. Those three teams currently the ones that would qualify for next season, wouldn't be relegated right now. But things still, honestly, relatively close all across the board. If you look at Team Razor in last place at 77 points, only 27 points between themselves and that third place spot. So things very tight and may widen as the weeks go on. But one team I do want to talk about is Team Excedrin. And now this is a squad that, you know, if you saw my power rankings from the first week or just kind of the general discussion that we had on draft day, this was one of the teams that was incredibly consistent during the qualifiers. While they weren't getting top 3 finishes, they were consistently up in the running, up in that kind of top 7 to top 5 range and just putting points on the board every single time. They weren't necessarily popping off, but they were always there, always putting points on the board. And for me, that is something that translates really well into Series E, especially when the season is longer. That consistent performance is important. Teams are going to have ebbs and flows of how they play and ups and downs with their performances, but teams that are the most consistent, and even if they aren't getting a lot of maybe top 3 finishes, if they're easy to predict for 35, 40, 45 points every single night, they're going to be a strong team, and I think that is Team Excedrin. They've looked good through the first few nights, and I think they're a team certainly to keep an eye on this season. I believe we're getting close to getting ready to go, so production is going to let me know maybe we're ready to go to a break. We are going to go to a break. So as we go to break, do want to remind you guys, if you want to shop any products from our partners here at Series E, head over to walmart.com/esports arena to pick up everything that you need. Now we're going to go to that quick break. When we come back, we'll get right back into the action here with Series E.
Okay, so the reset button was hit for Absolute Monarchy there, and so they'll have a reset on game number 4. We saw the 50-50 taking place over at Overlook, and so now they have to be aware of that. They have to be aware of the timings of the third party that can come in from Lazarus. So hopefully, Tony, in game number 4, on the reset of game number 4, they learned their lesson and they can bounce back.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. I mean, obviously, this is some of the things that happens when we're playing remote. It happens across every esport, whether it's Halo, Call of Duty, and obviously Apex as well. It disrupts the momentum a little bit, but I mean, these guys, they want to be professional players. They want to take that next step in your career, and one thing you have to be able to do is hit that mental reset button and jump right back into the action, because it's going to happen across all levels, no matter what.
And this was a good reset for Absolute Monarchy because they are on the top of the leaderboard, right? They are well within running to try and win out for the evening. And so understanding that, we'll see if they have a different game plan and how they challenge. The 50-50s at Overlook can be a little bit strange just because the buildings are so spread out. There are very few priority buildings or priority spots when you're contesting each other there to try and take. And so it's a very awkward fight. You can see how awkward it was during that game when we had it up because it took so long. It took so long that Lazarus was able to loot up all of Climatizer and then eventually show up. I mean, they took their time to show up there. That's how long the fight was taking.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, you know what? You just got to go in there, grab the weapons that you need. You know the composition that you want to come out with, and if there's no priority building, you make a priority building. You find out exactly how you want to take the advantages, find that positioning. Your IGO needs to be on point, and then just ultimately it comes to winning your pivotal gunfights. And like you said, very lucky we got the reset in because that got a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of priority buildings, I mean, when you've got a caustic, every building is a priority building. Get in there, throw down the barrels, make sure no one can push you, which is exactly what was going on. The fight was just so delayed, and you can see why caustic it can be heavily favored by a lot of our teams. If you're a team that wants to slow things down in a team fight and pick it apart methodically, you could definitely do that with the caustic. You cut off angles, you cut off doorways and entries of and ways of entry, and then you control the fight that way. So we'll see as we are ready to head into the reset of game number 4. So let's go ahead and get into World's Edge and join on board once again with our winners from game number 3. Game number 3. And I think, Stick Drift OP are kind of happy with this reset as well because they didn't get the greatest of loot coming out of launch site. So maybe this time around they'll have some better armors.
Yeah, whenever I see a team with that rocking caustic, I know that they're playing for the long haul. They're not playing for those early frags. They are going in for top 3 or bust. And speaking of Stick Drift OP, we're back on board with them, and we're starting to see where that hill's gonna pull. Actually, all the way out towards Countdown and Trials on the northeast side of the map. This is my kind of drop.
Yeah, this is a little bit scary when you really consider it. There are so many circles that this one can end up being. It can go to the western side of Trials. It can go into Skyhook, Countdown, even Lava Fissure are all in play. And so this is a situation where a lot of the teams are going to kind of want to run edge and slow rotate throughout the zones to try and pick up beacons before they even show up for that second ring. And so things could be a bit slow here. But once again, we have that 50-50 that's taking place at Overlook right now between Absolute Monarchy and literally vibing, I believe there. No shots fired quite yet. No one's gone down quite yet. So maybe they're both kind of agreeing, like a gentleman's agreement, not to fight, take the loot, maybe run off. We'll find out in just a moment.
I don't know about that. I feel like when the time is right, they're going to be going at it here. Meanwhile, Stick Drift OP having a lot of time here to loot up, and also we're going to be on board with this gunfight. Bosek in the hands of Raid, so not the best loot, but it looks like he has an R301. That's a little bit better. Closing in the gap with his R301, he should be able to do some damage.
Might be getting some flashbacks from last game of trying to push in that building. You can see he was considering it. He was looking at that door longingly, like, can I push this one? Oh, Banshee gets scanned as he tries the challenge for the roof. Now he has to be worried about that sniper post. There might be a player up there. He's got that Bocek bow out, and looks like the Gibraltar is once again playing off that platform now. So Absolute Monarchy once more are separated, and they are getting punished because of it. Banshee going in, almost gets the one clip before he finally falls, but literally vibing, pick up 2 off the back of that one. There's a Chow, but oh no, Musa now left in a 1v1. as Stomps is able to pick that one up. Our boy Mozam coming in for that. We'll see if he can find more off of this. Nade out as the bodies, they're trying their best to block the door throughout all of this. This fight happening much faster than it did in the first iteration of this game.
And looks like it's a Valkyrie player going up against a Gibby, so we're gonna see how that works on this one. AM just looking for that angle. Meanwhile, those down players just feeding off information to both players here in this 1v1. This is gonna be really exciting here. And looks like Gibby started to up the tempo, looking for a shot, not able to get it. Gonna be forced to back down because he does take a bit of early damage.
Yeah, Sentinel Mozambique, not quite what you want when you're trying to fight for this now, but he's going to make the bubble entry. He's got the Mozam out. He needs to connect with the shots, and he does! And there it is. See, the extra bullets coming out do so much for them. He gets the gold bag res as well, but they need to take the time now to get their last player in. And throughout all of this, because it took so long, once again, we're 30 seconds before the zone starts closing. There is a world where Lazarus can come in for the third party, but luckily the saving grace is that this ring is pulling to the northwest side, so they might be prioritizing the rotate or getting actually into a fight themselves.
You know, the Mozambique and Sentinel may not have been optimal in that situation, but you got to make do with what you have, and that's exactly what Stomps did. That's a huge gunfight right there, closing the gap with the bubble and ultimately hitting your shots. He earned that one. 17 squads remaining, 51 players on the map.
Again, these early games have been so fraught with violence, the 50-50s, the rotation fighting, our squads getting caught off guard by the pace of this one now. We'll see things should be slowing down for Absolute Monarchy. They are basically on one of the furthest corners away from the zone, and so having someone rotate through here, it's highly unlikely. So they'll be able to utilize the replicators. They'll be able to get their economy right back on up because they expended a lot in that fight between both teams. They end up using a lot of heals and a lot of nades. Here's Team Razor, though, making their way into trials right now, but first he needs some help, and that's going to be Malice Mamba showing up with that port to help him make the cross.
And you have to be taking advantage of that replicator. I mean, if you can out-resource your enemy team with those batteries, that can pay dividends in any gunfights, especially when it gets over towards the late game. Meanwhile, RCO in a gunfight of their own, holding on to height advantage right now, but the question is for how long. Eventually, that team wants to get a little bit froggy. Will they decide to leave?
RCO, they were able to walk out of Lava Fissure with the purple and the double blues, and they're playing on top of Sniper Hill, which means they'll have plenty of opportunities with these drops, with these guns to try and chip away at teams that are rotating in through Skyhook and get those purple Evo shields for themselves. You can see Charge Rifle in the hands of Sleepy Panda right now. They've got the secondary backup gun to fall back towards as well. And so it's all about control, playing on top of Sniper Hill for Team RCO.
And you notice that what he did immediately, he drops his purple shield for his teammate, and he has that charge rifle, so this is just easy peak damage. Now, again, it's not the best gun as far as to win those individual pivotal gunfights, but when it comes to putting down damage, and a lot of it, the charge rifle definitely could do it. So drops off that purple shield towards his teammate, because he's sure that eventually he's going to be able to upgrade his, especially with that 2x4, he's going to be ripping damage left and right. But they need to be careful, though, in case a Valkyrie team wants to land on him. Luckily, I don't think it's this one, but still, eventually that could happen as well.
Ooh, I was about to say, you don't have to hit your shots, you just have to be shooting to force them away, and they are stuck there on the low. Sleepy Panda gets the knock onto Exo. That's Stick Drift OP losing out on one early on this rotate, and you can see why this Sniper Hill position is so strong. They do get the res at the very least, getting him back into it, but the other squad that's playing the first floor of Trials right now are trying to challenge them there. You take a moment, though, using this gas to slow down the fight, to go for the reset. Exo has the time to hit that medkit for himself as well, but Stick Drift OP still not in a good position.
I don't know how our Gibby player was able to dodge all of those nades. You saw the indicators all over his screen. There was fireworks happening, but somehow was able to dodge it, stay alive, and now it looks like they're actually actually playing against Razor right now, who have the better positioning, but are not ready to push just yet.
Yeah, Team Razor, they know that they have to be wary of RCO above them. If they take this fight, if there are trades, they can just instantly get dropped on. So the third-party threat always looming is going to keep them contained in here. I mean, they're quite happy. They've got the gold armor and the blues, so they don't really need to force a fight right now. Team Vizio, though, they're a team that don't want to fight at all. They've only got the white armors on Phony and Scissors, and Fury's the only one that has a blue for themselves. So this is a very precarious situation for them, and they're not really in a position where Black Market Boutique can get them a lot of value, but we'll see what they can get out of this one.
Yeah, and I mean, where they're at right now, there is no resources, so the only chance to get anything is out the black market. But like you said, I mean, it's not an optimal point. They might be able to steal a little bit, but eventually, once a team recognizes that they have two players with white armor, they might get collapsed on. So not looking good here for Vizio once again going into game number 4.
And here's the value that Fury was able to get. The two things that he picked out of that Black Market Boutique came from the building that Phony's holding right now. So, I mean, he just saved himself a few steps, right? It's like, you know, it's like getting yourself a large cup at McDonald's or something to refill, or so you don't have to refill. That's basically what he did.
Not looking good for them. We'll check on them a little bit later here. Meanwhile, Nerf are in a twosome, but not for long. Looks like they're going to try to beacon over somebody, but that's a lot of noise that beacon makes. So eventually the team might be able to hear that and might try to get involved just a bit. But here comes our Gibby player. Fearing Live is live once again.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about for the teams that were coming from the edges. They're going to take their time on these rotates. It looks like there is a beacon as well over here at Harvester. So these teams are trying to play edge. They're trying to hit the beacons on their way in, as they really don't have to go in ring number 1 or ring number 2. They can, especially with the Valkyrie, they can take their time here on the rotates, but the fight is coming to them right now. Messiah gets the one clip onto Rocky, but he gets taken out himself by one. And so despite getting Fearing back into this game now, they're going to have to actually recover Messiah, who's about to get thirsted.
Our Caustic player was taking heavy damage right there, but winning that pivotal gunfight, at least able to get the trade in, but they're going to go down. And meanwhile, our Gibby player once again losing his life, coming right in from the reach 5. And now Valkyrie's just going to try to get out of dodge and try to stay alive here, but eventually this might become a rat situation. Luckily, the bubble creates some kind of cover here, and Nerf is okay, but not for long.
No, they're right on top of that building. They're actually right behind him, and we're pushing them down. You can see Fearing Live going instantly down. That's Team Intel looking to close things out up against Team Nerf, as Rejects are finding themselves in the fight inside Skyhook right now. They're in the 5-story building here, and they've got the caustic gas trickling down the stairs. We'll see if they can get a sneak another one in. It looks like there is an enemy caustic on the other side of this one, and so that player can just clear out these barrels himself without putting himself in too much of a vulnerable spot. But for now, Rejects are happy to at least just hold this position as they're waiting for the rest of the lobby to die.
And I'm going to be honest with you, I hate fighting those multi-layer buildings. That's where your IQ is really tested. You have to win your gunfights, and also your movement needs to be on point, and your decision-making as well. I tend to not win those gunfights. Meanwhile, Oxygen wins theirs. That's going to be a squad wipe down to 16 squads.
Yeah, that's over at Countdown as Team Intel. We joined back on board with them. I don't know if they were able to completely finish off the squad from before, but there's another team showing up behind them. They're trying to rotate through and actually just let them go. I think they're just going for the poke damage here. Like I said, playing off beacons, that's something they can do right now. It's ring number 2. It doesn't hurt for that much, but they can see how isolated these players are. So they're trying to 3-2-1 the player in the back. The Wraith has already used the Q. They're about to crack armor. They hit for flesh, but they don't get the knock quite yet. It's so close. Team Intel are doing so much damage, but they're not getting the knocks.
That they are, but the Rampage really ripping. He doesn't have his third minded out yet. He's just using that natural, but meanwhile the Storm is going to close in. Our Bloodhound player ends up losing, going down, almost down to one shot here. They're going to have to play a res. Meanwhile, Gibby is well ahead. So Intel is looking okay. They're in the Storm, but at least they were able to get out of that terrible situation.
Yeah, they've got medkits. We'll see if they just craft up medkits here. Maybe they can just exist inside the ring for a while. Nestle Splash, though, find themselves on the low ground just outside of Trials on the south side, north side of Countdown now. They've got plenty of rock coverage to play off of there. So they'll be relatively happy. It's going to be difficult to try and push them really, as they have good sight lines right now. You can see that a lot of teams have also been taking up position, and it seems like it was Lazarus that was challenging in that 5-story building, and they forced them to the other side. You can see now that they are no longer coexisting in that building. Lazarus in an excellent spot here to have options for when they want to rotate out.
And let me tell you, this circle ain't big enough for the 16 of us. I mean, we're going on 2 minutes into round number 3, and there's still 16 squads remaining. This is going to close down. This is going to close up really soon here as Rejects doing a great job of holding down their multi-story building. Valkyrie trying to get the Valk out of here because he wants no part of this.
You're gonna have to be careful. Charge rifles up top can connect. You can see everyone is firing at them, hitting for flesh. Who's gonna get the kill? And somehow that squad survives. Rejects, though, are just happy that they have one less team to worry about here inside Skyhook. But the ring should be pulling away from them soon. Now it's Absolute Monarchy actually making their way on in. And so does that mean that the ring is actually pulling over here?
It's funny, every time I see a Valk ult, I just think of that one Imperial Howl tweet where literally there was like 4 or 5 different Valkyries that ulted all at the same time, and it was absolutely ridiculous. Now I was like, okay, this is Valk meta? Oh gosh.
Yeah. And speaking of Valk meta, here it is, Dracos. They don't really have to go far, and so even though they have the Skyward Dive, maybe it's an option to try and take the Sniper Hill away from RCO if they feel up to the task for it. Lazarus feel up to the task for it. They've actually pushed out, and take a look. This is why the ring is over here. And RCO, though, we're ready for this take, and so it's just going to be some existing between them, coexisting between them two right now. But Lazarus are the teams that are actually backed up into a corner. Their only option here to back away is to jump down the hill. RCO have a few options for themselves. They can drop down through the tunnel, they can drop to the north or to the southwest. And you can see, I called it out early on in the game that with this ring pulling up hard towards northwest, one of the first things to consider is having this ring right here on top of Trials, pulling towards the west. Excedrin again in game number 4, playing this one out as a duo right now.
Yeah, Lazarus not having much options over there, but at least they weren't getting pushed. Meanwhile, Excedrin are definitely getting pushed. Our Bloodhound player actually losing all of his shields, going down to 1 shot. Gibby's going to go down, and Bloodhound's probably be short after that, trying to heal up, but it's only a matter of time before our Bloodhound gets collapsed on. Oh.
Yeah. The bubble is used as Phony. He's going to get himself a free red armor. No, it's unfortunate that they're having to play that one out as a duo. Now, Team Vizio are actually in a really strong position as Beat Boop Boss find themselves in a fight not too far away themselves. Just to the north now of Trials, and that's unorganized that will go ahead and clean them up. Team Intel eyeing the position that we saw, I believe, team, what was it, Vizio playing off of earlier on, and that's the Beast of the Hunt getting popped by Mooney. They want to get aggressive on this fight. The movement speed, the scans are there. He sees the footsies just through the rocks right now as Rejects find themselves in a fight, and they've already lost out on 2. Young Pop-Tart going down. Wizard Coin's going to try and hit this res, but they push that stairwell, they push that elevator well, and they will be able to finish him off. Here's Team Intel on that push onto Splash, and they do end up taking them out and instantly pivot for the third party. Great awareness coming out from them.
And we've just seen 7 teams going down consecutively here in just about maybe about a minute and a half. I said it before, the hill was way too small to have that many teams. Eventually it's going to be closed out, and it looks like that's exactly what happened. Meanwhile, Intel trying to avoid the ultimate bombardment. Now that that's over, going right back out for the challenge. The rampage shots are starting to hit, but Octane is taking some heavy damage right back.
Yeah, Cody will be able to utilize this passive though. His shield hasn't taken that much damage, and so he's just going to slow heal up that flush damage he's taken. It's actually probably just been stims that he's been using. Oxygen don't want to take this fight, so they'll take to the skies instead. But now they are sent right back on down. The Nox Gas Grenade is going to be used there, but Team Intel finish them off and don't have to worry about that gas anymore. Big team fight win for Team Intel to clear out the south side.
20 seconds before this hill's gonna be closing up. Meanwhile, Fury sitting in a great spot right now, sitting up in God's spot, holding things down. I wonder where that hill's gonna rotate from here. That's gonna decide whether Vizio are gonna be able to stay here or would they have to get aggressive and rotate out. Meanwhile, they're just taking advantage of the black market. They're sitting up in this spot, having all the elevation and even able to snatch up resources while sitting up here. That's the power of Loba.
Yeah, we have to remember that they were on the struggle bus. They were sitting on white armors and a blue, I believe, when they're positioned before this. But the Valkyrie deploy onto the sniper post. They throw down that Black Barcoon Boutique with all the fighting that's taking place around them. They steal away the red Evo shields, the armor swaps that teams desperately need. But here's Team Unlucky now trying to make that rotate a little bit short of that sniper hill. And they're going to be forced now down onto the low. And we know there's already a full 3-man. And Casellos just gets melted mid-air. Team Intel are doing such an amazing job this game. That's another team fight win for them. And again, you can see how quickly they pivot for the third party just in case. They cover their backs, and there's a thermite closing in on them as the ring finishes closing just shy of their position.
So efficient for them to be able to wipe out that entire squad and then change the direction immediately, already putting pressure on the second one, but an ultimate bombardment's going to come in. It looks like the team's trying to close in the gap. The wingman shots are starting to hit. That Bloodhound's going to back down immediately after the 41s, and it looks like Intel are chasing down that Bloodhound. They had 2 teams in front of them, and they're somehow still coming out on top.
Oh my goodness, that R301 clip just melting the Blair. Oh boy, beautiful job coming out from Team Intel. Once again, clearing out the south even more as Team Vizio are running the northern side. They have a team pinned down behind the rocks right now. Defensive bombardment goes down, but it just misses them because they're on the sniper post here. Vizio spot out that they have used their bubble, but they don't want to drop quite yet. And so they're going to have to allow this team to survive here for now. And we'll see if maybe they can go for some peaks. Maybe they can get a knock. Boney giving me some anxiety there as he was basically, you know, playing on a trapeze wire there. But you can see how this position, you can coexist. You have the base of the tower to play off of. You can also climb up onto the legs of the tower right now. Team Intel trying to fight their way out of trials, and they are meeting resistance.
And let me tell you, I mean, Team Intel can't catch a break. I mean, they just took back-to-back fights, and now there's already another team starting to put pressure on them. Meanwhile, Vizio decided to drop down from Godspot, putting down the early damage, but they've taken some heavy damage right back, and an ultimate bombardment looks like it's about to be coming in soon. And Smart Loba just says, you know what? I'm done playing with you guys. I don't want to play with you anymore. I'm going to brace it right back up to where we were before and resetting the situation. Meanwhile, I'm looking at Fury's face the whole time. This man, there's nothing that can crack him. He's in. It doesn't matter if he goes straight down to one shot, if there's 5 people collapsing on him. He has that same facial expression. I love the Team Vizio.
He is cold-blooded, and it looks like they spotted out. You have to be able to pick that one up. That was turns from Nerf, and now it's the final 2 squads remaining. Team Intel versus Team Vizio, our partner squad squaring off. The bubble has already been forced out. You can see Fury joining up to make that a full 3v3. They get the first knock onto Petty Boss. They'll find a second one as Fury picks off Mooney, and there it is. Team Vizio waking up once again in the second half, and now they propel themselves possibly into first place.
It felt like it was only a matter of time. I mean, Team Vizio were playing really good Apex from game number 1 and game number 2. I just feel like they got really unlucky. And I'm sitting, I'm like, when is it Vizio's time? Saw once again, high IQ play, starting from all the way down with their backs against the wall, holding on white armor with multiple players early onto the game, able to, once we snapped back to them, we had 2 players with red, one with gold, and them just holding on to Godspot, sitting up there for as long as possible. Great plays come out of Vizio. They ultimately come on top, and it was well deserved.
Yeah, that was the first win for Vizio in the second half. Will they be able to repeat the performance that they had last week? This is the start. We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we get back, we'll have game number 5 after this.
It was only a matter of time, ladies and gentlemen, before Vizio got on the board, and they did it in game number 4 with a big win there. And while they won't be chasing 119 points, I would imagine, they still are going to jump themselves into the conversation for maybe a possible back-to-back open night victory here. Well played from them. Let's check out our 4th player of the game here for tonight, and who from Team Vizio is going to grab it this time around. It's going to go to our friend Fury. 4 kills, 4 assists, and just short of 1,800 damage there. Well played from the man himself. Obviously a monster with the Kraber, but the whole squad doing it this time around, getting a big victory here in game number 4. And we'll have to see in those final 2 games what kind of damage can they continue to do. I'm not imagining we see another 3 games in a row of victories from them like we saw last week, but they could still put themselves very firmly in the conversation here in the end of open night. Do want to remind you guys, we got a giveaway going on once again this week. We're giving away 2 different Oculus 2s, and if you want to get in on that, just use !giveaway in Twitch chat right now. You're not going to want to miss out on that. I'll remind you again later tonight and later on this week. We're going to a quick break, though. When we come back, game number 5, just on the other side. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Eat, Speak, Compete.
Eat, Speak, Compete.
Yes.
Name, incredible. Logo, even better.
I'm your host, as always, Yeso, joined by my co-host, Luke Shimone Brew.
There's a lot to unpack there. I don't even know where to start.
If one of the North American teams doesn't win, their 2021 season is done. I got my fingers crossed. I think you got this. Let's turn more towards the competitive side. They finished strong.
Like 35-2.
They finished strong. They looked.
If the only intent is, hey, let's make this game as esports as possible, then sure, but that's never going to be what Nintendo does.
And I'm very curious to see what kind of their first take on what a Valorant World Championship should look like.
Dang. That's super fun sounding.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome.
That sounds super fun. I think that
It's fruit refreshingly sweet, but without sugar, 0 calorie treat. They're all our top fresh flavored splash.
It's fruit freshen.
Now, even the biggest headaches are toast.
Excedrin keeps your head in the game.
Or no more throbbing noggins.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
All right, game number 4 was a good one for our partnered squads, particularly Vizio and Team Intel, who ended up duking it out, but it was Vizio who came out on top in game number 4. So let's go ahead and check in with the Mobile 1 leaderboard to see who stands on top right now. We had a very contentious leaderboard, and it's Team Intel. Despite coming in second, they got into a lot of fights. They had to have a lot of kill points in that last game, so now they are the leaders, but not by much. Take a look at that. Why not? They've got Vizio, AM, Splash, and Excedrin all within reach of them.
Yeah, I mean, this is anybody's game. And when you were saying that, I was kind of thinking about that as well. Like, yes, Team Vizio might have got the best of them over towards the end of the game. However, Team Intel, we watched them get back-to-back squad wipes, and that was full squad wipes of that. And who knows what they might have been doing before we actually even hopped on board with them. So Team Intel definitely coming out on top by combining those kills and great placement points, and they've earned a number 1 spot. But like you said, there's multiple teams that are right on their tails.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the Mobile 1 high performance moment from game number 4. And it's this final fight. As you can see, Intel were in a fight with RCO, and all Vizio had to deal with was Nerf's turns, as he was just that solo rat securing third place for his squad at the very least. But this is the quick decision making coming out from Fury. He joins up with his squad to bubble fight. He makes sure that he is not out of this fight, and he gets involved in a big way. Big connects from the PK there, and that's why they were able to win out in that fight.
Yeah, what an unselfish play coming out of Fury right there. You know, lots of times you'll see a lot of Loba players, Loba mains utilize that bracelet to get out of a bad situation, get that cover, bracelet out. You have no idea where she went. But but very rarely do you see actual Loba players getting aggressive, getting towards their teammates. You hop out of that bracelet without even being able to shoot right off the bat. However, you get towards your teammates, you work together, you play for the team, and ultimately you win as a team. Great unselfish play by Fury, and great job getting the win by the entire Vizio roster.
I'm right here, why not? You don't have to call me out like that, okay? Sorry. My Lobo bracelets, I have to use it. I have to get out. No, it was great, right? He doesn't just play off the angles. He plays for the team fight inside the bubble. So Team Vizio with the win in game number 4. We'll see if they can do it back-to-back once again. Game number 5 here for Series E. Let's join on board with our Vizio boys who are dropping on the western side of the map. They are over here by Landslide, which is why we got to see them make that quick rotation and then eventually make their way over to that sniper post for that game-winning spot.
Yeah, not many resources here landing over here on Landslide. However, they can utilize that Loba ultimate to actually steal away from the vault, and then on top of that, quickly rotate, as you kind of mentioned before. So hopefully that's going to work out for them. It looks like they even got a replicator on their side, so they're going to be sitting good. When you have Loba, the last thing you're really truly worried about is resource. Like, don't worry, you're going to get yours. Just worry about shooting.
Now, we have a ring that's very similar to what happened in game number 3, I believe, when it went down to launch site, but this one is very heavily favored to go far south. So Stick Drift OP, what did they do in that game? They held that south building, and they were able to fend teams off. So this is a position for Stick Drift OP to repeat that performance that they had in game number 3.
I think this is actually the third time that we're seeing that that hill early rotate over towards the launch site, and again, once again, Sushi and friends just sitting up there like, hey, look, if you're gonna keep rotating over towards us, we're gonna keep holding down this building, getting our resources, and then ultimately just holding down and waiting for teams to come to them while they just ultimately shoot at them as they're rotating in. So really good for them keeping that hill over and over again, rotating over towards launch site. Meanwhile, AM getting into a quick engagement.
Yeah, this time around, it looks like they were able to force the issue up against Literally Vibing. You can see they kind of ran them down to the cliff here and just gave them no corner, no way to back out, just put them into that corner right now. So Absolute Monarchy happy to win that 50-50 and really fast at that. And if they want to try and find a position in this, in the second ring, in the third ring, they want to start moving, and that's how you do it. You win out your 50-50, you start looting, and you get moving.
Yeah, we've seen AM be real comfortable with getting into early engagements. They're very comfortable with their shots, and they simply hit. And it's to the point where they're not one of the teams that are running caustic. So that just tells me that they're one of those teams that they want to find their positioning, collapse as a team, and frag out. Like they're not going to be playing in for that top 2, top 1 by just holding down a building for an entire game. They're going to want to keep things moving. 19 squads remaining, 55 players on the map here, and again, Gibby, Bloodhound, and Valkyrie being rocked for AM.
You can see, though, like the kind of a lingering effect that a 50-50 has on a team. You know, for a lot of our squads, they're practiced with their drops. They have their looting routes. They know how to efficiently move through their POI to loot as quickly as possible. But because that fight happens, you can see how kind of scattered they are right now. And so they're trying to regain that composure and regain their looting route right now. As you can see, they are still sitting on the white armors, unfortunately, despite that team fight win. But they'll have the crafting. They'll be able to pick up and make a lot of meds. You can see that happening right now. And because they are delayed, it looks like they will just go ahead and commit to playing on the edge. Plenty of crafting credits here for stomps, and so with that swap off, they're just going to go ahead and evolve the Evo shields themselves using the replicator.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. There's no reason for them to hold on to white shields for that long. So as long as there's nobody around, which they're actually scouting out right here, right now, they can just upgrade those white shields, get them into blue real quick, and then get right back into the action. Now we have an easy rotate going over towards the west side of the map, where there's a lot more resources here, but they got to be careful. This is an angle that a lot of teams like to take when they're rotating in and out of situations. So be careful with that. Nerf trying to get some easy nerf damage on the team that's Valking out.
Yeah. For Nerf, though, they love kind of slow playing this one because they can play off of Lava Siphon. It doesn't seem like there's a beacon here for them. Unfortunately, they're in the middle of that POI, so they're just going to take their time. They don't know exactly what this ring is, and which is why they're kind of committing to playing on Lava Siphon right now. And you know what? They've got the tools to do it. They've got the gold armor on turns. They've got the purple as well, the Messiah and Fury, while he's rocking a blue. They're still happy that they have a pretty big HP pool overall. And so now they also play off that information of that Valkyrie team. The Valkyrie team rotates past them over towards the launch site. So even though they don't have a beacon, they've got an indication that the ring is going to be pulling that way.
Exactly. That's high IQ, and most of these teams are playing at that level. I would imagine IGL calling that out immediately. And plus, I don't mind them fighting out of Lava Siphon personally. I think with a Caustic could hold down any one of those rooms, and with the Valkyrie getting from up high on top of the roofs if you need to, just playing up low ground to high ground can be really annoying from any team that doesn't have a Valkyrie and Caustic composition. So I'm not mad at them fighting from this area with this particular composition.
Yeah, the big issue is that because it's such a southern zone, you're going to have a lot of teams coming from north. So playing from this side, you have to be on point. You have to be on your guard at all points and ready for multiple squads to show up. So I like that they're advancing a little bit more, making sure they're not going to be stuck in that northern traffic jam. We'll see. They do have the pings down, and they might try to get ballsy and push this position. It doesn't seem like there's a team up there quite yet. Messiah takes that zip line for free.
All right, so it looks like Nerf just living rent-free all over the place. They're just like, hey, every time we rotate, there's nobody around. Meanwhile, Intel not having that same luxury. They do have a giving player that's actually looks like by himself, so this might be an easy collapse, easy kill coming from Intel, but the damage is coming in. Octane actually going to go down immediately to one shot, and they got to watch out. Here comes the cavalry. Octane going down almost immediately.
Yeah, Absolute Monarchy coming in for the third party right now. The bubble res does go through, but they don't have the gold back. Throwing in that arc star to slow them down just a little bit more, along with the defensive bombardment. But Moody gets tagged up by stomps from behind. And Team Intel, despite having a great game number 4, they might go down early here in game number 5 as the thirst goes down onto Mooney. Cody at least gets that bat off for himself. Looks like they'll be able to survive as a duo. Maybe they'll have an opportunity to turn around and get that banner.
Our Bloodhound player going down really quickly, so now we have our Gibby and our Octane player currently by themselves, and it looks like they were almost ready to fight and commit to that, but it looks like they want to back down, and they might end up playing this as a duo, or at least waiting out a little bit more time before they try to rotate out. I mean, Octane is the fastest legend, so, I mean, if there's any chance of them going back and getting that banner, it might be on the backs of that Octane player. Meanwhile, Excedrin also in a bad situation. Their Bloodhound player's going to go down as well.
Oh boy, they do trade though. That's 1 for 1, and isn't too far off as the defensive bombardment goes down. Cruisin hits that Q to get back, but he gets taken out by Sleepy Panda. And oh no, they don't have a bubble for this res. This is dangerous. RCO, smell blood in the water. They want to take advantage of this third party. Did the res go through? No, he was not able to stick it. So now Kimchi Lee, ooh, as he hits the first floor. Well, he hits the floor. He is down and out. RCO knocking out Team Excedrin. Now hold this tree building, spotting out the other squad that was involved in that fight. The third party, RCO. They want to get aggressive. Sleepy Panda's trying to find this angle here, and he's connecting with these wingy shots. It's Nando that gets the knock onto Obi. That's going to be 2 more kill points put on the board for RCO.
RCO are the third-party masters. I don't think we've seen them start at any initial gunfight, or any initial transaction, but they always are the ones third-partying teams. We saw them third-party Vizio a couple of times. Them right there getting the cleanup kills. Let me tell you, man, and those wingman shots hit. It is the most satisfying gun to use in this game. When it hits hard.
Yeah, it was a little scary there for Stick Drift OP as Sushi ended up disconnecting outside, but no one would notice, and he was able to reconnect without taking too much damage. Now, Stick Drift OP, this was their landing spot. They decided that this is the priority spot for them to hold down for now, as it looks like Absolute Monarchy getting into a fight themselves, trading back and forth. Young Pop-Tart taking down D. See who ends up out on top. Petty Boss ends up cleaning them up. So a little bit of revenge there for Team Intel. Remember, it was Absolute Monarchy that came in for the third party up against them. But here's Oxygen looking to get aggressive. Nades in, out. But the Caustic Barrels, they need to get those inside as well as they get a connect onto the armor, doing some damage. They're ready to push.
And Oxygen Esports having a big armor advantage against their opponents. Their opponents actually having 2 blues and even 1 white. Meanwhile, they're purple and golden out, so it's only a matter of time for Stick Drift OP are going to get collapsed on. Luckily, they have the Caustic holding down this building as best as they can, but those nades are flying in. They're doing damage, and this is not looking good if you're a fan of Stick Drift OP. It is just not.
They're getting some chip damage off these nades, and it was actually enough. They commit enough utility to try and force one player back at the very least right now. No, it's just a third party, and everyone's dropping down onto the low. So Stick Drift OP, they weather the storm, and they survive. Elsewhere, though, Absolute Monarchy still in that 3-way fight with Team Intel, and you can see Wizard Coin going down as well. So we'll see who ends up on top in just a moment there.
Great job by X to rotate out of that. There was a canister blocking that door completely, so they rotate and take that out. Meanwhile, Rejects losing 2 players, and our Gimme player is going to be by himself, going in for the massive, excellent shots, but that's going to be it. That team goes down, and we are down to 14 squads.
I'm wondering if there's a third party, a Beast of the Beast of the Hunt does allow him to scan up. The nades are coming out. This might be the remnants of Team Intel, and Cody is still alive. There we go. He gets that kill. And the thirst onto Stomps. Unfortunately for Team Intel, they were never able to recover Mooney's banner. They do have the other, so it is just a 1v1 right now. Cody just laying down the damage along with the nades as well, and Sung is going to try and back away, find some cover for himself, but he gets dropped on as Cody will get the ultimate revenge, knocking out Absolute Monarchy. You can see flexing on him right there. He's having a good time, and he's got that double respawn beacon right there to plug his teammate back on in. But will a team show up to try and take advantage of this respawn?
And that is why you pick up those grenades. They are quite underutilized in the lower ranks of Apex, but they do damage. I mean, that you should be starting your pushes as a team with nades. I don't care what anybody says. Meanwhile, we're back on board with Nerf, holding down this building once again, holding that team out and waiting for them to make a mistake. Once they get a couple of cracks, they can collapse on them, but as of right now, they can be as patient as possible with 12 squads remaining and 19 seconds before round 2 hill is closing in.
Oxygen in that very similar situation that we saw Nerf in just a few games ago with the very similar ring. Actually, that was game number 1. That was the beginning of the day. And it's the same two squads. Once again, Nerf versus Oxygen. It's the repeat. It's Groundhog's Day here. We'll see, though. It's a bit flipped, though, as it's Nerf that's holding inside the building, as Unlucky are able to finish off their fight up against Lazarus. And Lazarus were the big threats last year, but today they're kind of not showing up at all whatsoever. Team Nerf trying to turn the screws onto Oxygen, turning the tables onto them, as they're the ones gatekeeping Oxygen out of this building.
Yeah, I mean, but either way, I think things are looking great for Nerf. Even if you're winning your individual gunfights, you're doing that chip damage, no matter what. Nerf having that ultimate position, but the team not having ultimate position is Razor right now. I mean, they're kind of locked in at the moment, and it looks like the bubble's actually going to come in, and that team is going to commit heavy damage for our Wraith, and our Gimme player actually going all the way down to 1 shot. Meanwhile, Bloodhouse taking some damage as well from outside the building. Eventually, they're going to be collapsed, and meanwhile, Oxygen are in the same exact position. The damage is coming in as well, so multiple teams trying to get into these gunfights. 1 minute 30 seconds into round number 3.
Yeah, they take this position away from Nerf. Last time around we saw, I believe they got a knock, but hey, there's a knock there for Malice Mama, taking out RCO's Nando, but it's a 1-for-1 exchange. Holiday answers back, Dreza going down, and they need to buy time. You can see the Phoenix kick getting popped by Malice Mama right now, and Bursty only has slow heals. He does have that gold armor though, so the cells do work out in his favor at the very least. Nice peek out from Malice Mamba as he's about to take a second, but he gets double peeked on the left-hand side. Bursty now taking all the aggro. Malice Mamba brings it down to a 1v1, but RCO, Sleepy Panda, had the HP advantage. He got cracked. He's going to try and hit that hip fire. He's got 45 shots left there. He's going to go ahead and reload that PK to get that big burst damage, but the third party is showing up as well. RCO end up winning this one out, and it's just a solo player trying to come in for the third party. Sleepy Panda backs away, and it is No Sense Mickey wants some kills for his squad.
Yeah, great awareness by Team Frenzy to recognize that that's actually only a 1v1, but sadly it looks like he wasn't able to come out on top on that one. RCO taking down that full squad and then that solo, and now we're down to 8 squads, and they're going to be fully loaded after one more res.
Now, that was a gold bag res. Sleepy Panda. Oh, actually, they have 2 gold bags. They have 2 gold bags. So they're just able to change that and really conserve on their meds and quickly make the rotate because the zone is closing in on them. This is a little bit scary for themselves. Hopefully they'll have a bubble upon landing as Vizio are the ones controlling the southern zone. This was the building that we saw Stick Drift OP play and win out of last time.
You know, I hated Gibby players before with the G7 Scout, but now it's even stronger than ever. Come out of the care package, and Phony is putting down some damage with it, absolutely ripping that player's shields. Meanwhile, on the kill feed, you're seeing Scissors getting a big knock on Nando. 8 squads remaining, and Vizio having the advantage in this gunfight.
Now, the only thing that RCO can really count on is that Vizio don't have a Wraith. If there was a Wraith, they instantly portal over there to try and challenge them. So for now, they're just going to go ahead and commit these nades to try and get that, but they do at least get the finish onto Nando. So RCO, if they don't have a mobile respawn beacon, they're just going to play this one out as a duo, and it looks like they do have a mobile respawn beacon.
8 squads remaining right now. Vizio having great advantages right now. I'm loving their position that they have. And even having a Kraber as well. I had no idea that player having a Kraber. Meanwhile, Intel getting into some engagement, the charge rifle coming out, but the R301 shots are hitting.
Yeah, it looks like the R301 is the laser more than anything else there. Cody just laying into them right now. You can see they are having a good time despite being down a player. Oh my god, you can't keep getting away with this. What is that damage? Okay, that team has to stop peeking.
Look at his face. Look how much he's laughing right now. He's like, what is going on? He doesn't even believe what's happening. He's having an absolute blast, and you know what? You gotta respect it. I love the fact that he's having fun right now, but he has to be careful. They're currently in obviously a 2v3 scenario, and there's multiple players on the map that obviously collapse in. This hill is starting to get smaller. We're already down to round 4, and only 30 seconds left at that. Kraber in the hands of Fury. What are you gonna do with it?
Oh, we saw some dirty, dirty things last week. Vizio, every single time Fury had a Kraber in his hands, he was knocking players left and right. And now he gets that same opportunity. They're keeping an eye on their north. They don't really have to worry about RCO to their south right now. They know that they recovered, but they did some damage to them. They're going to keep them at bay for the time being. It's all about trying to get the kill points. Playing early in this position meant that they weren't able to get too many kills. It was probably just that one that they got onto RCO, and so they need to focus on getting these kill points here during the rotates. Here comes the Valkyrie ultimate. They can't punish that quite yet. Splash! Oh my goodness, they mistimed that and took so much damage. Now as they drop down, they're all missing out on about 60 HP. Ooh,
yeah, but a high
Fury
IQ
for the first knock.
Right there. It was a high IQ spot until the team actually just collapsing right on them. I didn't even know this spot was an advantage here, but looks like as of right now, it's a big disadvantage. And Fury hitting 145 from across the map, looking good. Oxygen gonna make quick work of that squad. Looks like a third-party situation is starting to commit on Oxygen.
Oh, they got to be wary of the ring, though. It is closing in. They are safe within this zone. As Scissors got a knock onto Oxygen there, and there's the instant thirst as well. Phony with the G7 Scout picking up the kill onto Stick Drift's OP Sushi. Now down to 7 squads, and there are so many damaged squads as well. You can see 15 players left. We're missing out on 6 players, maybe one more about to fall just underneath Vizio.
Oh. And before we know it, round 6 gonna be coming out. But hold on, Fury really overcommitting to that fight, ends up going down. Look at the Gibby players coming right in with the gold bag, but they did waste the bubble. Nobody in position to come out just yet. 63 on the player that decides to get frog. You're gonna leap onto the black screen if you don't be careful, buddy.
Now they're going to turn their focus onto the duo that's actually underneath them. That's a full drop down from Scissors, but it's okay. He's on that balcony. He's got the passive. Why are you standing still? You know there's a Kraber. You can't stand still like that. Okay, Fury, he's got 5 shots left in this Kraber. There's 15 players, so we'll see if he can get any more knocks with this one. 26 seconds left to go, and they're going to top off with this Black Market Boutique. Sleepy Panda does finish off Petty Boss, and so now we're down to 14 players left.
And this is the exact rotation and the exact Vizio in the exact position that Stick Drift when they won their game. Meanwhile, beautiful Stalin coming out of Octane, getting out of that terrible situation, but he's playing the heal. 28 damage against the purple, but man, having blue shields this late in the game and by yourself, he's gonna get hunted down eventually. I can only think.
Yeah, he's gonna just try and buy some time. He just wants to survive. They're so close. They're on the cusp of getting so many more placement points here. There's gonna be a quick armor swap for him down here as well, and that's another blue. That's a little bit of a downgrade though, because it's 200 and oh, Fury! He gets the knock onto Sleepy Panda, hitting the heady with that Kraber, but he might get punished once again. You can't do that, man. All right, there's another bubble res though coming out from Phony, and like we said, he's got that gold back, so he's gonna get him instantly topped off. Fury's got the gold armor as well, so he just needs to hit the one cell for now. Oxygen playing this one out as a duo, Stick Drift OP currently as a solo. And you can see now they're trying to push up for the side of Team Vizio right now. You do have RCO controlling the high ground on top of Mini Dome, and here is the final circle. Fury, 3 shots left on this Kraber. He's taking his time, but he misses out on that one finally.
Ooh, but right after that, hitting another 145 and Team Vizio getting maximum amount of value out of that gold bag. Let me tell you, Fury getting really aggressive once he hits those Kraber shots going down, but the Gibby player doesn't skip a beat. Down to 4 squads, 10 players physically on the map. They're trying to thirst a few players, and meanwhile, RCO sitting up in God spot, but I mean, with multiple teams still on the map here and multiple teams knowing exactly where he is, I can only think that they're going to thirst him out eventually. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's going to be up to Scissors to try and challenge him up there, or maybe Fury finds the angle once more. He's got 2 shots left in this Kraber, but now he wants to try and deal with the other squads. Team Unlucky wants the other teams to fight while they're mid-air, and the dive isn't quite the best because they're trying to prioritize dropping down onto that Mini Dome, but they leave themselves vulnerable. It's a 2v3 down low, it's a 1v1 up top, and there's an opportunity as Holiday actually ends up going down. Fury now with 1 shot left in this Kraber. He does have that black market boutique. Maybe he picks up another one. We'll see. It's the final 3 squads remaining as Casellas gets a knock onto Hambino. Unlucky trying to finish off this fight as quickly as they can, and they do in a relatively clean fashion. So now it comes down to the final 3v3.
And we actually have Unlucky, looks like, versus Vizio at the moment. The Kraber actually still in the hands of Fury at the moment. And it looks like the collapse coming in. Prodigy H is going down to 1 shot. They're going to take advantage of this one. Multiple players actually going down. Vizio going to collapse, and that's going to be back-to-back games. Vizio are looking so good.
They're doing it again. This is exactly what happened last week as well. A huge rebound in the second half. They had a 2-point lead up against the second place squad going into this game, but now with a huge game like that, picking up so many kills with the Kraber, with the G7 Scout, it looks like Vizio might walk away with another win here. We're going to have to find out, though. We have 1 game remaining. You're not going to want to miss it, so don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back after this break.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Eat, Speak, Compete.
Eat, Speak, Compete.
Yes.
Name, incredible. Logo, even better.
I'm your host, as always, Yeso, joined by my co-host, Luke Shimoni. Brew.
There's a lot to unpack there. I don't even know where to start.
If one of the North American teams doesn't win, their 2021 season is done. I got my fingers crossed. I think you got this. Let's turn more towards the competitive side. They finished strong.
Like 35-2.
They finished strong. They looked.
If the only intent is, hey, let's make this game as esports as possible, then sure, but that's never going to be what Nintendo does.
And I'm very curious to see what kind of their first take on what a Valorant World Championship should look like.
Dang. That's super fun sounding.
Yeah, I think it's gonna go.
That sounds super fun. I think that
Okay, to all of the people competing tonight, if you were here last week, we had a little conversation. We had a little heart-to-heart on the show last Tuesday. What did I talk about last Tuesday? If you give Fury the Kraber, you're going to have a bad time, okay? Guess what? I'm rooting for Vizio, so I'm all for it. But I try to warn you guys, and they're coming back again. 2 wins in a row for Team Vizio now, and they're going to be looking for the third here for the second week in a row. They look just so good, so clean, impressive play from them. And our player of the game this time around, it's going to go to Scissors. So well played here from Team Vizio. Obviously, this is going to make things very interesting going into the final game. Is anybody going to even be able to catch these guys at the top of that Mobile 1 leaderboard? We'll have to find out. But 5 kills and 1,200 damage there for Scissors is going to feel really good here. Well played from the side of Team Vizio. And now they just look like the team to beat, it seems like, every single Tuesday. And this is only the second week of the season, folks. Are we going to just have an entire season of, Vizio comes out, starts a little slow, and then they're just going to body the whole lobby in the second half? It's certainly starting to look like that. So we're going to have to see if the other squads can figure something out, find a little gap in the armor here to try and deal with Team Vizio, because they're looking incredible so far. Well played from them. We'll have to see how things shake out in game number 6. Do want to remind you guys, if you're looking for a gift for the gamer in the family, you're looking to grab some Esports Arena swag for yourself, you can pick it up right now at shop.esportsarena.com. You can maybe even pick up one of these brand new jerseys that's hanging up on the wall behind me. Use code SEASON4 for 15% off your order today. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, final game of the day, Tony and Jamerson will get you ready for that.
Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on applying the scheme. The true slide trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Hit the bars with the breaks. I'm talking one chance, that was so good for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast. Excedrin, game over for headaches.
It's fruit refreshingly sweet, but without sugar, 0 calorie treat. Now all our top flavored smash.
It's fruit freshen.
That's back-to-back wins for Team Vizio here in Series E. After a rough and shaky first 3 games, they finally found their footing. They found their timings on their fights, and now they are succeeding, and they might walk away with the win. So let's check in with the Mobile 1 leaderboard to see how many points they have after those 2 wins in a row. They were leading with 2 points heading into game number 5, but they had a monstrous game there. So let's see how many kills they were actually able to pick up with the Mobile 1 leaderboard in just a moment.
Yeah, I can only imagine they put a little bit of distance in the scoreboard between them and second place, but we saw that literally, I think from 2 to maybe 6, we're all separated by maybe like 4 points. So there were a lot of teams on their tail. This is still anybody's game. With one more game available, you have to keep your pedal to the metal, your foot on the pedal.
Yeah, it's a far reach for them to try and hit 100 points again, triple digits. But, maybe if they have like a 30 kill game. Let's go ahead and look at the Mobile 1 leaderboard to see how many points they have now. And it's 62. And so they have created some distance between themselves and Team Intel, but they're still within reach along with Absolute Monarchy right now. There's only a 12-point difference between Team Vizio in first place and Team Intel in second place, and Absolute Monarchy just 2 points behind Intel at that as well. So Team Vizio cannot make any mistakes here, or Intel or Absolute Monarchy can absolutely steal away this win.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of put some perspective on things, Team Intel and both Team Intel and AM are one solid win away from catching up on the scoreboard, let alone the amount of kills they'll get in the meantime. So yeah, Vizio have no room to breathe. They definitely have to make sure they have a great game number 6 to secure this win. Otherwise, Team Intel, they're hungry. So are AM and plenty of other guys are looking to get into that top 4.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at the Mobile One high performance moment from game number 5. And it's just this finish off. Team Unlucky have to deal with Hambino and his squad. And ultimately, even though they took a clean one here, they leave themselves in a corner. They've already used their bubble as well. And Vizio are ready to pounce.
And this is when Fury had that Kraber still in hands, just popping off damage, and it was only a matter of time. There's just such a well collapse. You saw Prodigy come out of nowhere, coming and sliding right over toward the bottom. He loses literally all of his damage. I don't even know if he even meant to drop right there, but eventually he goes down, and it was only a matter of time before Vizio put their second win on the board again. Back-to-back wins. You mentioned it before. They didn't have too much of a hot start, but I said it. Game number 2. I felt like they played well. I feel like they chose their positions well. It just got a little bit unlucky with the way things ended up. And game 4 and 5, they come out swinging.
Yeah, it was about fighting less in the early game, right? Just being a bit more patient and making sure you secure yourself into that final spot. I think they got a little bit ahead of themselves because they walked away from their drop spot with like pretty decent loot, right? In the first game, they had purples and golds. In the second game, they had purples and blues, and so they felt comfortable to take those fights. But now, I think when they find themselves with the white armors, they're like, maybe we shouldn't fight, and that's working out for them. But here we go, heading into the final game of the evening. Can Team Vizio win Open Nights 2 weeks in a row? We have to remember that there's also the cumulative leaderboard. They put up like 102, 106 points last week, and so this is another opportunity for them to really keep themselves on top of that leaderboard going into the end of the season, which will be taking place, well, a few months from now.
Yeah, don't know if they're gonna have triple digits this time around, but either way, I mean, still adding more to that and adding to that accumulative leaderboard is gonna pay dividends for this squad here, as the hill is gonna start to rotate over towards the northwest side of things and over towards Climatize. This might be the first time so far out of all 6 games that we're seeing the hill pull that far towards the west hand side.
Yeah, we had one no-name circle that I believe was game 2, I want to say. And so this time around, No Name is not within contention at all whatsoever. So Lazarus, this might be their opportunity. This hasn't been a great day for them as well. And the second half isn't going in any favor for them. Team Vizio in that similar situation that they found themselves in games numbers 1, 2, and 3, where they don't have great armors, or excuse me, in the last 2 games where they don't have good armors, and so they're rotating on the whites and blues. So they're going to avoid a lot of the fights here. They're going to really try to utilize the black market boutique to maybe get the upgrades, or at least get the economy to try and get the upgrades.
Yeah, I mean, landslide is always going to be like a fairly safe place to land, but like you said, I mean, there's not many resources there, and you're going to really count on the black market to kind of carry you to getting that upgraded shields as you rotate away from where your starting point is. And luckily for them, it's worked for them in the past 2 games, so they found their rhythm, and there's no doubt in my mind that it could work for them again here in the final game number 6. Our Loba's the only player that has blue shields right now, and still having that black market ready for when they're ready to go.
Yeah, they were able to hit the beacon there, and so they know where this ring is ending. So I want to see exactly where they want to position, because their macro calls are really good as well. And speaking of macro calls, a team that we applauded a lot in the past for their macros is RCO. Moving out of Lava Fissure a little bit late on the rotate, but they do have a lot of movement, and they've got the mobility as well of the Skyward Dive coming in just a few moments for Holiday, so they can cut off a lot of these teams that might have had the priority rotate on them right now. They're getting some decent scans as well as they go through Skyhook right now, and so if they want to turn around, if they want to try and commit to the edge, they can and actually fight for these kills.
Yeah, RCO is one of those squads, like when you see a lot of aggressive squads, they usually don't compliment them based on like their macro, or even making those high IQ plays. But when RCO picks a gunfight, it's usually after there's multiple knocks. It's usually a great third party pick. They really choose their gunfights really well. So I'm really impressed with what we've seen with RCO so far. now we're going to see if they can hopefully translate to the scoreboard and hopefully get a top 2 finish, because obviously they have that potential as Intel are now going to get into a gunfight themselves, multiple at that. They're looking for an entry to get in, and looks like, did I see a couple Watson? I think I saw some Watson fences.
Shot. Yeah, someone's running a Watson right now, and it's typical Watson gameplay. They've got all the doors covered. Beast in the hunt for Mooney. He almost got the one clip covering Petty Boss, who needed to heal up himself. And so now they have to be wary of the third party. You can see the Frag East team coming in. Petty Boss forcing the issue, throwing that bubble down. Mooney's going to cover his back once again. Such a good teammate to cover that retreat. And so realizing that the third party is waiting, they do not engage. They back off. They're here in the diner building. And so they can take this time now to just recover here and reset after that fight.
I mean, hey, Watson did get a buff, so I mean, I guess why do we see them in competitive? Just really weird. I was not ready to actually see a Watson composition. Meanwhile, Intel rocking the old reliable Octane, Bloodhound, and Gibby. That was kind of the fundamental of season 1 of comp, and we've seen teams start to gravitate away from Octane and even Bloodhound as well. But it's good to see Intel rocking it right now as the team is actually replicating over towards the east side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, Team Intel is a team that has so much experience when it comes to just rotating on foot that I don't think they really need to rely upon Valkyrie here. And they're a team that can also pivot instantly to edge fighting, which they are doing right now. They've got the knock onto Obi, the window peek coming out from Cody as well, utilizing that door for that peek up. And so that's 2 quick kills. They take almost no damage for it, but they're just going to tank the fences there and finish off the squad. But oh boy, Oxygen coming in for the third party. Hambino got the knock onto Petty Boss, and it looks like they're continuing that fight from the last game. Kubsky has gone a little bit low though, so this is a bit scary, but if Protectful starts throwing down these barrels, they should be safe to finish this one off. There it is. Mooney going down and Petty Boss getting thirsted. It's all up to Cody now to try and survive for his squad. Team Intel were in second place, and now they're just in shambles.
Yeah, Intel really committed to that gunfight right there, even to the point where they were, like you said, they were tanking the Watson fences and even taking additional damage. And you give Oxygen any kind of advantages, and they're going to take advantage of it, like you saw right there. Beautiful collapse coming out of Oxygen. They took minimal damage. Nobody coming in for the third party, so they're going to live to see another day. Meanwhile, Razor actually going to lose their Wraith player, and even their Gibby as well, leaving our Pathfinder by himself. Can he stay alive?
I love that he's on the Pathfinder right now, and he had the HP advantage, but unfortunately, he ends up taking that Thermite, taking a lot of damage himself. He has the gold armor, at least, to quickly reset, hitting the syringe just in case, but now he is ready to fight. PK 301, he has the combo to finish him off. Big hit there, and he's going to go for that peak. Oh, he unfortunately misses the ledge and can't go after it. Now he's going to try and bait him out with this res, unless they just let him get it off for free. Nope. It is going to be the peek. It is the bait, and there's the big connects with the PK. Malice Mamba keeps Razor in it, and he will get the reses as well.
That was just too good. I mean, the peak play, he almost got him through the window right there, dropping down and going for the res, and almost even pulling the first res off until the very last second, forcing that player to make something happen. He goes in for the challenge, and Pathfinder ends up putting him down. Great job by Malice Mamba.
Now here's Nestle Splash making their rotate in. It's going to be the redeploy as they make their way over towards the eastern side of Climatizer. It looks like they want to try and play the train tracks. Eventually, you have to imagine they're going to try and push up towards the high ground to their east and climb up there. But this is a decent rest spot for them, as it looks like there aren't too many teams in the area. It didn't look like they were getting shot at for the most part, as typically there are a lot of squads that end up holding these high ground positions around them. So I'm surprised that they were able to get here relatively for free.
Currently 16 squads Manians are now on board with Nerf. Oh, beautiful R3O. One shot's whipping out the Peacekeeper, hoping he finish that player off. The bubble's gonna go down, but luckily he has teammates that are running right into it. Looks like a Caustic player getting really aggressive right there, running into 2 additional players. And now Nerf are the ones in a bad situation. Caustic's gonna go down. It looks like a Valkyrie plays on the challenge, ends up going down to 1 shot, and Gibby not quite there just yet. Going in for the switch. This is not looking good for Nerf. It was looking excellent for a moment, and now Nerf at a slight disadvantage.
There they go. They do end up cleaning up that fight, and it was off the back of some great PK shots coming out from Fearing Live. The bubble res to get Messiah right back in with the armor swap as well. So Turns and company will survive for the time being. They're playing pretty hard edge here. They're fine with this. The ring just ended up closing, and they'll be able to not just get this loot, but also the beacon for themselves that's on top of this building.
Nerf coming out on top in that gunfight here. 15 squads remaining, 43 players on the map, and mind you, there's a lot of time for ring number 2. Meanwhile, Rejects having a couple players in front of them actually going in for the collapse. Are they aware of it?
Boy, Rejects have been having a difficult day so far. The fights have been getting away from them so far. And oh no, Wizard Coin, he's going to have to actually use his own defensive bombardment there and almost gets no value as the bubble is used on the other side at the very least. And now they're getting challenged to their own. The Caustic is trying to slow things down. Young Pup-Tart with the barrels as Jaren gets the first knock, literally vibing, looking to finish them off now, forcing them into the corner, into the building. You can see the barrels getting pre-popped by the squad just to try and survive. Any nades start rolling in though, things are going to look real bad. And there it is, the first one coming in, the thermite, and Wizard just has to eat it now, literally vibing. I'm going to try and tank this gas to try and make their peak, and this could be the big mistake, and it is. They lose out on one, but it's still a 1v2. So there's a chance here. Never mind. The EVA 8 just hits dead center from Banshee, and Moosin will get rezzed right back in, literally vibing, getting the +3. They have multiple kills in this game as well.
Great collapse come out of literally vibing. I saw somebody rocking a Watson, and I think I just saw Kimchi Lee using Mirage. Yeah, there's a Mirage.
It's a Mirage. It's a Mirage. Are they sabotaging themselves? We'll see. Maybe Kimchi Lee was just, you know, tired of getting melted on the Gibraltar, or maybe they were playing like a quick match and they just kind of forgot to log in. But also, maybe try something new. You know, it's not the best of days for them, and so it's game number 6. Anything goes. Just try something out.
I mean, hey, he does go invis when you go in for those reses, so that's always really nice. And obviously, when you go into those 1v1 gunfights to come out of nowhere, and the decoys are excellent. I mean, I'm just very shocked that I'm seeing him. I thought it was a glitch at first, but no, there is a Mirage in comp right now. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, his first decoy there getting taken down. There's a defensive bombardment, and that's when you wish you had the Jibby. They have to back away. Kimchi Lee takes some damage, but hey, we got the first knock coming out. That's a big one. On to Razor. Dreza going down. We'll see if Bursty and company can get him back on up. But here's the air burst nades, and they are landing right on top of them, forcing out the bubbles. Enemy is right in there, getting the re-knock onto Dreza, and now Razor once again. It's a 2v2. Kimchi going down once more, but oh, the movement! Malice Mamba, let's go! Gets over the rocks, but he goes right into a third party. Nerf showing up. Oh boy. What the hell is going on?
I mean, that was some beautiful movement. He just happened to move right into a whole nother squad that was actually coming in for the third party, and now that's going to leave Wraith buy or sells here for Razor. I'm not sure what the plan is. It looks like Wraith is actually getting aggressive. That's a full Vizio squad, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. It's going to go in for the challenge 1v3. It's going to try to sneak the banners and get away from the situation. I'm not sure what the plan is.
It was everyone just trying to come in for the third party. Vizio does have to back away. They do spot out that last Wraith, and that's going to be Bursty going down. Remember, Team Vizio were in shambles. They had white armors and blues, but they're turning it around once again. The power of that Loba. You get so much reach with it. You get so much loot off of it. So now they're sitting on the blues and the purples. Is the same thing that they did. They got an alternator off of that as well. We'll see if we can ultimately get the hands into of the Kraber into the hands of Fury eventually.
You know, I wasn't mad at the alternator before it hit the care package. I thought it was always pretty decent, and then once it hit the care package, it got even better. I love me an alternator. I could absolutely rip with it, and even someone like me who misses their shots somehow can rip with the alternators, and that's how you know it's a little easy.
You just melt through the shield, that disruptor round, just doing so much work. I kind of missed that you can't put it on the Re-45. That was the only thing that made the Re-45 maybe even halfway usable. But for right now, it looks like Vizio, they're just looting. They're just running everyone's pockets as they hand out the cells left and right, but it's Team Vizio. Like we said, they had the 12-point lead going into this game. They're looking strong to finish. They've got some kill points, and they have hit top 12. They've got a really passive position to play off of here as well. No team can really push them up here.
Yeah, I'm loving the position out of them, but there isn't much room to wiggle. So, a couple Arc Stars and Thermites can be really bad for them. But either way, they're sitting up in God spot right now. They're sitting high. They're sitting. They're obviously in the dead smack in the middle of where that hill's gonna rotate in. So I'm not really mad at Vizio's spot at the moment. And it's funny, speaking of care package weapons, I don't know if it was just me, but I swear the triple take might be the only weapon where I feel like actually the weapon feels better coming out of the care package than it did. I would pick it up all the time out of the care package. I'm like, okay, it's decent, but when it came out, I feel like it got even more consistent. I don't know how, maybe it's just me.
I think the main difference was that, you had your limited ammo when it was in the care package, right? But now that it's floor loot, you can see all these people, and the energy weapon changes allowed people to kind of rock that Volt triple take if they wanted to, but also just have a lot more shots in it. And so you got a lot more value off of it right now. Or it might just be kind of like some sort of placebo effect for a lot of our players, They just didn't use it because there was the Kraber instead. But oh boy, Sleepy Panda, he already got one knock, and now he's holding the door here. Big buddy Nando coming in to cover it for him as well. No, you do not turn your back on RCO, because that's what happens.
All three players going down thanks to Panda getting the triple squad wipe literally by himself, down to 11 squads, 32 players on the map. And mind you, again, 1 minute 30 seconds into round number 4. Now we're starting to see the game heat up a little bit here, and it looks like another team dropping. It looks like Intel might have been taken down completely, which I believe was our squad that was in second place. So wow, Team Vizio looking good at the moment.
Yeah, it's just half the lobby remaining here as RCO make their way through Climatizer. There are multiple teams here, though, and playing through this building, you've got to be careful. It looks like there might be a Caustic squad on the other side. Yeah, there are barrels down, but oh my goodness, the R301 sprays have been beautiful coming up from almost all of our players today. Oh, cracking one again, and Nando just wants the full send it there. Unfortunately, that Bloodhound was able to get that bat off, and Nando was caught off guard by it. It's Absolute Monarchy on the other side of this one. Sleepy Panda is the only one alive. Now it's down to a 1v1. He cleans them up. Here's Splash, though, coming in for the third party, and now Absolute Monarchy. You have to play this one out as a solo.
And that has to be so frustrating for RCO. I mean, they played that just right. They got 2 cracks with taking minimal damage. At that point, they had to push, and it would have been a crime for them literally not to. They dropped the bubble, to close in that distance, but it was just enough time for that player to come out with the bat. Meanwhile, Vizio coming out with the alternate.
Oh man, Nerf just getting dropped on by Team Vizio there. You can see the complete reversal of fortunes for them. They went from shambles, whites and blues, now up to purples and golds. Here comes that Valkyrie ultimate. You can see a lot of the lines of sight are covered, and as they're vulnerable on the slowest part, they've got the low ground coverage that actually allows them to use that for free. They'll have a bubble as they rotate in and take this bridge. A defensive bombardment on the other side of this one. Moosin getting sandwiched in between them. Scissors steals that kill away, and now they're looking for more of this third-party action.
And if you were worried about Vizio holding on to their first place, I mean, my man Phony is the kill leader with 5 kills right now, and they're still sitting pretty at the moment. Vizio looking good to run away with the tournament. Mind you, Intel dropped earlier, who were in that number 2 spot, but there was a couple of teams that were within striking distance as another team going to drop down to 6 squads. Height advantage in the favor of Vizio. Splash getting into an engagement of their own. Things are going down.
And these are free fights for Vizio right now. They're under no pressure whatsoever. As you can see, Splash at least survived their fray. It was very close, and Scissors is able to take another kill. That's unlucky. The team that they ended up fighting in the last fight in game number 5, and Vizio just picking up kills left and right. They've basically done it here. I don't think anyone can contest them with the amount of kills that they've gotten, the fact that they've secured 4th place as well. And here's the last red, I think, that they can be able to hunt down, but somehow the Caustic gives them the movement, gets away, but not for long. Phony's right on top of him, still somehow surviving throughout all of this as he drops down onto the low, and now he's just kind of stuck there. So you'll see ultimately Fury or Scissors going down to finish them off, and they will be able to get that. It's just Oxygen's Protect full. That's the Tomcat Rat Cam catching that in the end. It's the final 3 squads remaining, and take a look at that. Why not? They have at least 9 kills, and it's the final 3 teams.
Oh, you didn't know though, but I mean, Caustic has already taken the place of Octane as the ultimate movement legend, as you saw right then and there, down to the final 3 squads. They're fully loaded. There's 9 players on the map here. Splash having the best advantages in my opinion, but round 5 hill is going to be closing soon. We're gonna be moving on to a new location.
Now, for Vizio, they have an option to actually just rotate to the south and play cover from cover and kind of avoid this fight and maybe find some angles on Stick Drift OP. It's Splash that are under a little bit more pressure. As you can see, the ring is coming up behind them right now. They have to deal with Stick Drift OP. Splash are setting up these barrels just in case, but yeah, it's round number 5 closing, so maybe they don't try to go in. I want to see, like I said, Vizio try to set up angles on the southeastern side of the zone and walk in with that, but it looks like for now, it's just going to be that slow play. When it comes down to the final 3 squads, we know how slow things can happen. Teams don't want to make the mistake. They don't want to be the first one to kind of poke out and then make that critical mistake where they end up going down.
Now you're seeing this shot starting to fly here for a Splash, making extra actually down to almost no shield. Actually, that is no shield. The Thermite's going to come in. Nobody home just yet on that one, but the ultimate bombardment is going to force them to use an early bubble, and here comes the collapse. Splasher ready, and honestly, it looks like Vizio just sitting up top, just watching this all happen, waiting for the right time to strike. Vizio might be in the best position right now, going in and might be able to win right off of this gunfight, right off of this battle, right here, right now. 35 seconds, and they're going to be forced to fight.
Yeah, they've stopped pressing the issue, right? After the first 3 games where they got involved in too many fights, they learned their lesson. They're slowing things down. They know that they have the win in the bag as long as they allow Splash and Stick Drift OP to fight. 18 seconds left to go, and they use the bubble early on. That means they might not have the bubble when they peek out. We'll see how slow this zone is, how quickly it forces them out of this position, and there it is, the gold helmet thrown over to him. They need these bubbles. Blight already has his Nox Gas Grenade. They need to try and get the other cooldowns up, but for Vizio, it's all about slowing things down. Instead, Stick Drift OP to their right, and you've got Nestle Splash to their left. You can see the crossfire being set up as well by Vizio, just to have that arc to play off of.
I love the way Vizio plays, man. Even back when these two were on the team Pringles, I was always a fan of watching Fury and Phony do their thing, and you're seeing it right here, right now. It seems like they've already secured their win in the tournament, but it's all about adding those extra points. And you know, these are competitive players. They want to come out with the win on top of this one as well. 1 minute and 30 seconds until that final hill's closing in. The R99 shots are starting to fly, and so are the Arc Stars.
Just a beautiful arc and an arc star there. You can see the fire is covered. Every angle is covered coming out from Vizio. Fury has this high ground on the right. He's got all of Stick Drift OP here. The defensive bombardment is keeping them inside the bubble, keeping them contained right now. But Fury is ultimately going to have to drop down very shortly. There's a knock onto Dracos from Splash as well. He's taking a lot of ring damage, but he does have the bracelet to get him to safety. And somehow Scissors goes down. The bubble's already been used by Phony. Now things have turned around onto Vizio. Stick Drift OP might try to force the issue here and actually push onto them, but take a look at the kills coming out. It's going to be all Vizio on the kill feed. It should be a 2v2. There's a knock on the other side. Fury tries to go for the peak, but again, it's about slowing things down. Here comes out the peak, and now Splash will lose out on one more. Vizio will get the 3rd win of the evening, and it's the 2nd win in a row in 2 weeks now, coming out from Team Vizio.
That's 3 wins in a row. They went back to back to back. My gosh. Vizio lost their Valkyrie player early on in that gunfight. There were still 3 squads remaining. I don't know how they were able to come out on top on that one, but like you said, it was all about them slowing it down. It was all about them being patient, and man, did that patience pay off. Vizio going back to back to back, and I'm not good at math. I mean, but I promise you, Vizio won this. I don't care.
Yeah, it's no question who won, but it's about by how much. It's about sending a message. And speaking of message, we've got an ad break for you guys. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be able to announce our top finishers of the evening after this short break.
They did it again, ladies and gentlemen. Back to back to back wins for Team Vizio on back to back open nights. This squad is just looking so dangerous right now. Incredibly strong. A well-played performance here. Able to win that little 2v2 even with scissors downed in that final circle. And they grab the 3rd victory of the night. And I completely agree with Tony. They're going to win tonight. They're going to be at the top of the Mobile One leaderboard. But as Jamerson said, the question is only by how much? How much are they able to build on that lead they have already in the overall Series E leaderboard? Let's check out our final player of the game here for Week 2 Open Night. And this time, it's going to go to Phony with 9 kills, 6 assists, and just 4 damage away from 2,900. Phony is one of the best players we have ever seen in Series E and continues to show that here. A huge game from Phony here in game number 6, and a big reason why Vizio is so difficult to deal with every single game, and especially if you give them an opportunity to snag a win in a late circle, more often than not, they're going to do it. So well played from Vizio, well played from Phony, and now the question is, like I said, how many points are they going to win by? We saw 119 total for them last Tuesday. While I don't think they'll get quite up to that mark, I still think it will be a solid showing here for them tonight, and they continue to dominate. We'll have to see. Obviously, Series E and us here at Esports Arena are going to go on to a bit of a holiday break after this week, so we'll have to see if they can carry that momentum through into the new year. But at the very least, they are ending 2021 on a hell of a high note, and we'll hope they can maybe do even more of that tomorrow night on Pro Night. I believe we're going to go to a quick break, but when we come back, We'll check out that Mobile One leaderboard. Tony and Jamerson will wrap things up, and I'll be here to say goodbye. So we'll see you in a few.
Refreshingly sweet, but without sugar, 0-calorie treat. They're all our top breakfast flavored splash.
It's fruit freshen.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast. Excedrin, game over for headaches.
All right, welcome back, guys, to the conclusion of Open Night here. It's Series E, and we're all just waiting for the leaderboard at this point. Vizio got 3 wins in a row, so it's no question that they won, but it's about by how much and also who came in second place. Now, Tony, what was your favorite moment of the evening? There was so much action that took place across your 6 games.
To be honest, I think the whole storyline of Vizio throughout game after game, I remember following them in game number 1 and 2 where they really struggled. They were picking those fights, but those third parties kept costing them, and ultimately went down. And they were down and out for a bit. Game 3 had a quiet game as well, and then something just clicked in game 4. You saw the first win, and you're like, okay, well, all right, you got to win. All right, well, where do you go from there? Back-to-back wins. Where do you go from there? Back-to-back-to-back wins. And it was just so masterful. I've always loved the way they played. Again, back in, I think it was last season, they were Team Pringles. I was complimenting the way they played then. And it's the same thing now. They're so patient. They're so methodical. They pick their spots, and then they strike. And then for them to have the mental fortitude to click that reset button and say, okay, we had 2 bad games, 3 bad games, no problem. Let's get back in it. We're always in it. Just, I have nothing but praise for this Team Vizio squad. They're going places.
Yeah, the big question for me, though, is if they can convert their performances from Open Night into the Pro Night. They weren't able to do that last week, so we'll see if they can do that. But let's go ahead and take a look at the Mobile One leaderboard to see. Oh, they were actually really close to getting the triple digits. We doubted them, and we almost got punished for that.
I'm not gonna lie. I almost had to take my foot out of my mouth there because I said there's no way they're gonna triple digits, and they, like you said, they were really close. But yeah, that's a good point. They obviously are showing off in these open nights. Like you said, they went back to back. They won just last week as well. But now, how does that translate when the pros come in? I know design. Them G2 boys, they pretty real, and I know TSM's gonna step in here. All the big boys gonna step in here. And now, what do they do from there? Can they continue this momentum, or just let these visitors walk all over your house? You can't let them walk in there without taking their shoes off and showing respect. Vizio, let them know.
Yeah, and so it was our partnered squads, all in the top 3, Vizio, Splash, Intel. The notable absences, though, of Team Excedrin, along with Team Razor and Nerve. And so we'll see if we can turn things around. Team Intel, though, still maintaining consistency. They got 2nd place last week during Pro Night. They got 3rd place here tonight, just missing out from Nestle Splash by 1 point. Let's take a look at the Mobile One high-performance moment, though, before we close out the show of game number 6.
And this was just about that patience you were talking about before. You saw them start to rotate over towards the west side. And this is what I thought there was trouble. Valkyrie goes down immediately. I'm like, oh no, this is bad. There's still 3 squads. There's still 9 entire players on the map, and now they're literally fighting. They're fighting a 2v3v3. Fury, Fury, Fury God doesn't care. He keeps those shots in, puts in that damage, stealing all of those kills, and then forcing that ultimately into a 2v3 scenario, and they take it. They simply take it. They clutch up.
No, but we did get to see the kind of rawness, the animal instinct coming out from him, right? Like, he was definitely channeling his persona at that point, which is a wolf, right? He's got the eye of the wolf at this point, and he just ended up melting them apart. But one of the things that set him up, when JC was talking about the MVP from the game, was Phony. Take a look throughout all of this, right? While Fury is taking a lot of the aggro, Phony has that off angle. He's keeping that team at bay. Stick Drift OP cannot peek them because he is the one challenging them, even though they're a full squad over there, and he cleans them up. That's the unrelenting pressure of Phony. That's the entire squad working together and contributing to these wins.
I ain't call him Phony no more. I refuse to call him Phony. The man is real. The man is the real deal. I'm not calling him Phony no more. You better go rebrand. I'm not calling him Phony no more. The man is too real for us to keep calling him Phony.
Yeah, so congratulations to Team Vizio, and thank you so much, Tony, and why not for joining us on the broadcast tonight. Have some fun at HCS. I'm really jealous, man. I wish I could be there in Raleigh. Oh, live events and live casting. It's got to be great. So enjoy your time there. That's going to do it for us, though. We're going to go ahead and send it back on over to the Esports Arena studio as JC will go ahead and close out the show. But for us, just have a good night, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Tony, I don't know that I could agree with you more, my man. Phony is, in fact, the real deal, and so is Team Vizio. They looked incredible. Great cast from yourself and Jamerson tonight. Again, always a pleasure to listen to you two on the mic. And Team Vizio, as we mentioned, takes the title here tonight. No surprise on that front. 3 wins in a row is going to do you a lot of good on the leaderboard. Another 90 points to add to their total after 119 last Tuesday, and they're going to be sitting very comfortably at the top of our Series E leaderboard. That is going to do it for us tonight, but we still have plenty more Series E action this week. We'll be back again with Apex Legends tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, the same time on Thursday as well with Guilty Gear Strive. We'll have week 2 of season 1 of Series E Guilty Gear Strive. You're not going to want to miss out on that. Last week's show was incredible. The bracket was insane. Tons of awesome matches there, so don't miss out on that. And then we'll be here Friday with a new show for you guys. It may look a little familiar, but make sure you don't miss out on that. So still plenty of content throughout the entire rest of the week. But for tonight, we say goodbye. Thank you for joining us, folks. For myself, the entire live broadcast crew, and everybody here at Esports Arena, have a wonderful rest of your night. We'll see you tomorrow.
I feel like I'm caustic, I'm breathing on gas. They're on the smoke, patiently wait to attack. I feel like I've lost it, I see through the gas. Obnoxious, I'm knocking, yeah, I'm taking your back. I feel like I'm caustic, looting your buddy, your homies.